Hello, everybody. I'm actually doing this like on YouTube Studio this time instead of doing it in StreamYard. Okay, so hopefully nothing weird happens because I normally don't do it through YouTube Studio like this. But anyway, hi, welcome back. Welcome if you are new here. Um, I already see people like the live, and since I'm doing it through YouTube, I actually can see the likes. Hallelujah. So thank you for all that liked the live hopping in here. I really appreciate it. Let's make sure we make a habit of that. If you are not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Subscriptions are free. And when you're subscribed, you won't miss any live streams from me as long as you click the notification bell, and that'll let you know whenever I schedule it live so you can be here and in the mix. If you are here during the live stream, please don't be afraid to hop into the chat with all the other Sovereign Sisters. The lives are always interactive, so I always chat with you guys, take your input, take your opinions, respond, things of that sort. So yeah, and then if you watch this after, go on ahead, drop a comment, let me know what you thought. I'm fresh faced today. Listen, Mother Nature has not been playing games with me, okay? Like not at all. This past week, and like my cortisol is already a little bit high because like I had to travel for a long time on Friday, got home really late Friday, and then like I pretty much had to like sleep late into Saturday, and my body is like still kind of like off. It's my body is like off my sleep schedule because I had a 3 hour time difference between the West Coast and being back on the East Coast. And then not to mention, I have to drive 14 hours back to the Midwest the day before, the day after tomorrow. So I've been stuck like packing and like doing all of those things as well. And yeah, I've been doing facial massage. So I've been using my little I always forget I always forget how to pronounce the name, the Gushao tool. So like I've been using that, and then I've also been using my roller, and then I ended up finding out what the culprit was of my breakout. So I didn't realize it, but I actually have an allergy to essential oils. So for all my girlies that like do skincare, or maybe you are using a new like hair product or a new skincare product, specifically hair, because I do know that a lot of hair growth products have essential oils in them. Make sure you check to see if you potentially have an allergy to essential oils, because I have an allergy to essential oils. My scalp doesn't like it, my skin doesn't like it. So I had made like my own like little elixir to like put on my scalp. And I had put like a little bit of essential oils, and like my scalp started flaking like freaking crazy. And so me not really thinking, I had like a big old thing of argan oil, and so I had like put a couple drops of essential oil into the argan oil, and I was just using it like for my skin, like on my body, and I was fine. I didn't have any issues with putting it on my body. But I use coconut oil for my makeup remover, and I ran out of coconut oil. So I had been using the argan oil, but because I put such a tiny little bit of essential oil in there, I forgot that it was essential oil in there in the first place because I couldn't smell it. I completely forgot that it was in there. So I was using that to take off my makeup instead of the coconut oil. And so my face ended up breaking out on my cheeks. And so now I'm having to deal with like the hyperpigmentation and shit that's like on my cheeks now from the essential oils. So now I'm back with my normal protocol with just removing coconut oil. Haven't had a breakout since. So yeah, I've just kind of been like on and off taking a break from makeup so that way I can yeah, it was lavender. One of the things in the essential oils was lavender. It was like lavender, rosemary oil. Um, what else did I use? I think peppermint oil. It was a few, but I know for sure it was lavender. So now that I know what the culprit is, no, I haven't had any breakouts. So I just been like chill with my skin or whatever. But anyway, back to why we're actually here for the live stream today. So hold on one second here. Yeah, that are you kidding me? Like that, the essential oils, oh my goodness. Uh yeah, I had to learn the hard way that my skin and my scalp is not a fan of the essential oils at all whatsoever. Um yeah, so lesson learned. But today I want to talk about how nice women and you being nice and you being a people pleaser and just putting yourself last. Pretty much nice women finish last. Um, I had a very short phase in my life of being a nice woman and a people pleaser. And the reason why it was so short lived is because I quickly realized that in life, you really don't get anywhere by being a people pleaser as a woman. You really don't get anywhere by deciding that you're going to be nice and caring about other people's feelings and caring about other people's opinion of you. And so today I want to break down the psychology behind specifically why men really don't like nice women. On the internet, they're always going to say, "Oh, I want a woman who's nice. I want a woman who's going to build me up. I want a woman who's going to cook and clean and listen to all my problems and be my peace, all of that good stuff." And don't get me wrong, men will gladly accept that. Okay, they will gladly accept that. No, I mean, let's just be real. Who's going to turn down someone being their free therapist, their free S worker, their free maid, their free cook? What person in their right mind would ever decide to turn that down, right? No one is ever going to turn that down. So a lot of women always think, "Oh, well, like he's still here. He must be happy. He must be fulfilled because he's not leaving. Like he must like me." And it's like that's not how men work. Okay? That's not how men work. Men will gladly reap the benefits of your people pleasing even if and even when they don't like you. And that is the reason why it doesn't pay off to be nice, because the psychology of a nice woman, when a woman decides to pay a man in niceness, she's paying a man in niceness because she's expecting reciprocity. She's expecting for that niceness to be returned back to her. And you're never going to get it back in most cases. Dang, why is it Michael Jackson heing me? Come on, come back and focus. There we go. I don't know what happened there. Um but yeah, so you being nice is just people everyone's going to reap the benefits of your niceness except for you. You'll be the only person that will not reap the benefits of you being nice. So, this is why a lot of women, so like as a woman, like have you ever been too available for a man and then you'll be ready at his beck and call, like, "Oh, are you up, are you free, da 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 da." You'll drop plans for him, you'll go above and beyond to see him, and then you'll find out that like he's also dealing with a girl who like doesn't make any time for him, a girl who treats him like garbage, a girl that treats him like shit. And then later you'll find out that like he won't text you, he won't entertain you, and then you find out that like he's actually dealing with the woman who has been treating him like complete shit. Or even like in your friendships, have you ever been the friend where you're always helping people, you're always solving people's problems, you're always showing up for people, supporting your friends, being there for your friends, and then the second that you have a problem, you have an issue, no one is available to help you, no one is available to give you money, no one is available to give you any type of advice, and it's just like what the hell. And then even in work, this was like I would say that was probably my latest revelation when it came to my niceness. In the workplace, I used to always pride myself on being a hard worker. I used to always pride myself on how dutiful I could be when I was at work. And one of the things that I realized was that when you prove to like companies at work that you're dutiful, all they're going to do is just give you more work. All they're going to do is just dump more on you because you've already proven that you are capable to handle it in the first place. And so when it comes to my niceness, I think that was probably the most recent sector of my life where I realized that me being nice and me being dutiful and me doing all these things, it really wasn't going to benefit me in the way that I was hoping it was going to benefit me. So for the past couple like years with me working a 9 to 5, I've just prided myself on being a C-level worker. Okay, average. I just would do the bare minimum. I would just do exactly what was in my job description, not not a favor over, not a favor under. Okay, like just keeping it real. And so I realized that my energy is just really, really sacred. And I feel as though a lot of women, especially when it comes to men specifically, a lot of women don't understand how much of their energy they're giving off to men, and they're never going to get the energy back from men. Because that's not a coincidence, right? That's really not a coincidence how in all of these different sectors of your life, you could just be so giving and giving and giving, and then you don't get it, you don't get the reciprocal, you do not get it in return. And the reason why is because there are a lot of like psychological, biological, and societal conditioning that are at play here when it comes to why these dynamics are the way they are. So if you're ready to break free from that, and if you are ready to just gain some knowledge on why you need to kind of drop your nice girl, reduce your nice girl, you are in the correct place. You're in the perfect place. So the first part of this, okay? As a woman, especially, you've already been conditioned by society to be nice, okay? As a little girl, you're already raised to be a people pleaser, okay? Whereas men, they are raised to be pursuers. So that's where you get like, oh, the boys will be boys. You know, boys are pretty much raised to be allowed to cause upheaval, cause all types of issues and really just like be a problem. Whereas you, being a girl, you're taught, well, you need to be agreeable, you need to be likable, you need to be accommodating. When you're in school, you're the one that you have a dress code. When is the dress code in school ever for boys? Like, what, that a boy like just can't be shirtless, or maybe like a boy like maybe can't wear a tank top, but even then it's like you can't show your midriff, your skirt has to be a certain length, yada yada yada. In everything that you're doing from a very young age has already been conditioned for you to make boys be comfortable. So already you're already taught these decisions that you have to make, you always have to keep a man in mind, you always have to keep a boy in mind. And so, even in our outlook when it comes to our behaviors, boys, they're encouraged to be bold, they're encouraged to be assertive, they're encouraged to be risk takers. Whereas girls, we're told to be polite, we're told to be nurturing, and we're told to be good. We're told to be good natured people. And then when you add like the religious layer onto this, there's always this like moral upstanding that women have to embrace. And this is the reason why men are always using your purity as leverage. Okay, that's a trap. Always remember that that's a trap. They're always going to use your sexual purity as leverage, and the reason why is because it's one more thing that you will have to think about, or that they want you to have to think about when it comes to your behavior, in order to make them feel powerful, in order to make them feel thought of. When boys are standing up for themselves and like taking a stand for something, they're always going to be strong-willed. And then when girls are putting their foot down, standing up for things, you're called bossy, you're called difficult, you're called mean. So they're already at a very young age, they're already trying to beat the assertiveness out of you. They're already trying to essentially beat the dark feminine out of you, okay? Because everything that I'm explaining to you is dark feminine. If you want to know more about dark femininity and dark femininity practices, and embracing things such as manipulation, embracing more of those darker parts of femininity, please join my Patreon. I have one tier currently. It's all voice memos. I try to post on there. Lately, I've been posting on there every other day. But I give you all types of game on there on how to learn to tap into your dark femininity, and how to feel more comfortable playing into these things, because I think as women, we're taught that we need to pride ourselves on, our purity, priding ourselves on how nice we can be, priding ourselves on how comfortable we can make other people feel. And the thing about it is that women are usually always victims because women are too afraid to tap into their dark femininity. Like, you're never going to be a victim to a narcissist more than once until you realize, like, oh, okay, this is actually a game to narcissists. So then you have to start to have a mindset. Oh, okay, so then if I don't want to be a victim, I have to learn how to play the game. I have to learn how to embrace these little bits and pieces of manipulation and bits and pieces of being misunderstood or being outcasted or not being liked. Because when you decide that you're going to no longer be a nice girl, this is what's going to come along with it. People are going to think you're a bitch. People are going to think that you are hard to work with, that you're difficult, no one likes you. But that's okay. You know what I mean? That is okay, because at the end of the day, who what reward are you getting by being nice? Clearly, you being nice, it hasn't been working out for you because no one is able to help you. So why would you do the same thing over and over? That's what insanity is. It's doing the same thing over and over, and you're trying to expect a different result. It's not working. So stand up for yourself and like quit caring about what everyone is going to think. Quit caring about losing friends or being misunderstood and things like that. And like I mentioned earlier, this conditioning follows us, or it really does follow us within dating, within friendships, within the workplace. And so, naturally, based off of this societal conditioning, as a woman, most women feel like their worth is tied to how much they can give and how much they can tolerate. And for a lot of this was all created by men. Like I say it all the time. For men to be like honestly, for men to be like remedial, because I really do feel like men are remedial. For them to be so remedial, I feel like they actually did do a good job with creating patriarchy. And the reason why is because all of this was pretty much created for their benefit. You know what I mean? Because if you're conditioned at a young age to be a people pleaser, this is why women will be in marriages for 20, 30 years despite getting disrespected, despite getting abused, despite getting cheated on, because that's what they're tying their worth into: how strong you can be, how forgiving you can be, how tolerant you can be. And this benefits no one but men. And even in the workplace, it benefits no one but men. And then for women, all it's going to do is benefit like shitty family members and then shitty friends that are around you. Don't forget to like the live, guys. Press the thumbs up for me. Press the thumbs up for me. Yes, because I used to be ashamed of my body because I wasn't allowed to wear skirts and dresses above the knee and tights and shorts I could never wear. Yeah, exactly. And especially if you grew up in a very like religious background, you grew up in a very religious household. I mean, think of all of the things that as a woman you can't do under religion. Like, you can't wear red lipstick, you can't get your nails done, you can't have your hair done a certain way, you can't wear makeup, you can't wear anything risque. And then especially when you're a girl and then like you become like more developed, then you might have like a mother, or you're going to have family members calling you fast. They're going to be, well, don't get pregnant, and like all of these things. And so what's happening is that they're demonizing all of the things, and it's already rooting in you to make you feel bad about yourself and to make you have a low self-esteem. And it's like, these are all, and the reason why I feel like it's so funny too, especially like when things in the Bible like makeup, how makeup is like, this demonic thing, or red lipstick is a demonic thing. Anyone in like the spiritual space knows that any type of adornment is rooted in like spirituality. If you actually go back to the history of it, that's the reason why it's demonized in the Bible. And then even like your curves and things like that. If you look back in time and you look at old pictures, Neolithic times, like those women were super curvaceous. Those women had like bellies on them. Like those women were very like much full figured, because like that's how a woman is supposed to look. Okay. Like that's just what it naturally is. And so, your beauty and your femininity, like those are all forms of like adornment. adornment to be able to allow you to kind of like supersede yourself in a sense. And so the reason why that's always like demonized is because through society, they don't want the feminine to be superior. They constantly want you in a state of insecurity. That's the reason why the standards, the body standards are always changing. First, they wanted you to be super skinny. They wanted you to do all these diets. I mean, just think of how many diets it was in the 2000s. Like there was Atkins, there was paleo, there was the high fat diet, there was the cabbage soup diet. I mean, all of these different diets that, you would feel like you would be obligated to do in order to look a certain way. And then boom, that no longer was the standard. And then they changed the standard for you to be like full figured and be hourglass. So then now women are getting up on a table, risking their lives and things like that in order to meet that body standard. And then now, as we can see, that body standard is slowly fading away. And now it's the whole thing where they want you to be skinny now. And the whole goal of this is for you to have a mindset where you're insecure and you care what people are thinking about you. And so a lot of these decisions that you're making with your body, with your makeup, with your hair, yada, 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 for a lot of women, they're making these decisions based out of them being too nice. I can't tell you how many women, I talked about this months ago, but I remember I had a patient and the patient was like in her 50s. And I was doing her exam because my regular job is ultrasound, or I guess you could say was ultrasound because I'm not doing it anymore. But I was doing breast ultrasound, and she had nipple rings. Nothing wrong with that. No, nothing wrong with that at all. But she tells me that the reason why she got the nipple rings, mind you, at like 50 years old, she got the nipple rings because her boyfriend wanted her to get the nipple rings. And I was like, did you want the nipple rings though? And she's like, oh God, no, I didn't want the nipple rings. She was like, but that's just what he likes. And so I ended up getting them pierced because of him. And so I asked her, I said, does he have any piercings? And she's like, oh no, he's too afraid to get any piercings. She's like, he has tattoos, but he's too afraid to get any piercings. And that woman is 50 years old. So a lot of this too is a projection because he's too afraid to get piercings. He wants her to get piercings done. And because she's so nice and because she cares so much about what her boyfriend thinks and because she's so afraid of losing her boyfriend, she at 50 something years old was like, I'm going to get my nipples pierced. And she doesn't like them. She literally told me she doesn't like them. It's hard for her to work out at the gym. It's hard for her to wear certain type of undergarments. She clearly expressed to me that she does not like doing that. She doesn't like having them pierced. I've learned over the years that the only opinion I care about is that of myself. Exactly. The only person's opinion that should ever matter in your life is your opinion. Because guess what? The people who decide that they don't want to be friends with you anymore, the people who decide that they don't want to love you anymore just because you're doing something that they don't want you to do, those weren't your friends in the first place. Those weren't your family members in the first place. Those weren't good coworkers or a good boss or anything like that. Because whenever you have to abandon parts of yourself to make another person happy, that you don't want people around you like that. I'm sorry. You don't want people around you like that. People that truly value you, they're going to like you in all of your phases. They're going to like you regardless of, if it might even make another person feel uncomfortable or maybe it doesn't align with their values, because at the end of the day, we're all different. And people who have a conformist mindset, people who have a very herd-like mentality, a very sheep-like mentality, you don't want to be friends with those people anyway. Okay, those are terrible people to be friends with. Older women are so embarrassing. I know there are gems and matriarchs, but the rest are dross. Yes, and the reason being is because the older generation was like, that's like top tier conditioning right there. You know what I mean? Because especially, here in the United States, you have to think like this country really isn't all that old. Okay. Like it's really not all that old. And so, the conditioning, I mean, you have to think like the everything is starting to crumble because as we have more and more generations, people are kind of seeing things for what it really is. And the older generation, they just listened to what people told them to do and they just went on ahead and they just did it. So yeah, I can't do normies either. I can't do normies either, but all right. So, um pretty much society will sell women the idea that if you are nice, if you are selfless, you're always easygoing, you're always giving to people, that you're patient with men. Society promises you that one day you're going to they're going to promise you love, they're going to promise you loyalty, they're going to promise you appreciation. And then what really happens is that you end up getting taken for granted, um you're overlooked, and you're emotionally drained. And this is a reason why a lot of men don't understand that a lot of men have it painted in their mind that, well, my mom did it all. Okay, but if you were a fly on the wall and like you saw your mother talk to like her sisters or talk to her friends regarding her marriage and how she really felt, you would realize that even though she did it all, she didn't want to do it all. Okay, she wasn't having a good time while she was doing it all. And so that's the part that a lot of men do not like. That is the part that a lot of men don't want to accept. Almost to the point where it's like you might as well not mention it. Don't forget to thumbs up, guys. Going ahead and thumbs up for me. Thumbs up for me. Yeah, and so it's kind of just like no, and so what happens is like that older generation has warned all the other generations, the younger generations, to be like, mm-mm, I wouldn't advise you to do the same thing I did, because they played into that nice girl playbook. They played into that whole, oh, as long as I cook, I clean, I'm submissive, he's gonna be faithful, he's gonna be nice to me. And no, men take advantage of that. Okay, the reciprocity just won't be there. When you get older, you'll look back and realize whose dross you are as a woman, since that's what's being discussed, guaranteed. Yeah, and a lot of women look back and realize that it really wasn't all that worth it to do all of those things just to like, stay married or keep the family together and things like that. A lot of older women are like, no, if I had to do it over again, um, a lot of them wouldn't. They wouldn't. And even the women that I know now, that like are married or they've been in, oh my God, I don't understand why this is not um they're married. A lot of them are just kind of going through the motions. Like honestly, whenever I talk to them, they're just kind of like, yeah, I'm I'm at a tolerable level of unhappiness, most of them. So, um men, from what I've observed, men see your niceness as weakness. Even in my own experience with being nice to men, every time I was nice to a man, I just kind of felt as though they just take it as you being vulnerable. Men don't actually respect you being nice. It's just that men know that they can benefit from your niceness. Men, friends, your job. Yeah, you being nice is just seen as a weakness because it's just like you're a doormat. Like they already know that they could do whatever to you. Like you'll take them back for cheating. You'll tolerate them making poor decisions. And they know that they'll be able to get away with it because they know that you're nice. This is why I always say that it's better for you to be a bitch and be lonely, like be single, as opposed to you being nice and being with someone that is just siphoning your energy. Um, because that's the reason why they're there. Like your niceness is essentially energy when you think about it. Um, and then women who tolerate bad behavior, they get treated the worst out of everyone, because it's like you have to think psychologically, right? Like on a deep level. You have to think, you tolerating someone's bad behavior, what would give them the catalyst to change? What would make someone wake up one day and say, you know what? She's taken me back like 10 times already for cheating. She's let me run up her credit card. She's let me use her car and crash it. But today, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get me a new car. I'm going to pay her back for maxing out her credit cards. I'm going to decide to be faithful. Like, come on. In what world does that ever happen? No. On a psychological level, that's not human nature for most people. It's like with your health, right? You already know that if you eat like shit for long enough and you don't take care of yourself, you don't work out, you eat a ton of sugar, you don't drink water, etc., you know that you know subconsciously that at some point you are going to have some type of ailment. You'll have diabetes. You may have to get your leg cut off, etc. You may have some type, you're going to have some type of repercussion for the decisions that you make. But very rarely do people stop those behaviors before that happens. It's not until they get diagnosed and it's like, oh, well, you're pre diabetic now. And then for some people, that's still not enough. They'll get diagnosed pre diabetic and they're like, well, but I'm not technically diabetic. And so then they will keep on eating like shit. And then they get diagnosed with diabetes and then they still don't change anything. And then once they've went so far, well, now their blood circulation is all messed up and now they're going to get their leg cut off. Then they're going to sit here and be like, oh my god, I need to change, and it's like, well, it's too late now. It's too late now because this is now the first time where your consequence has been severe enough for you to decide that you want to change. And so when it comes to you giving like men and you being nice and you falling into this whole narrative, this whole conditioning of, oh, well, you need to be patient, you need to be kind, you need to be understanding. It's in a man's nature for him to be controlling and be dominant and his urges, he has needs. When you fall into this, you're not giving a man a consequence strong enough, if any consequence, to make him want to be like, oh shit, like if I keep doing this, like I'm not going to end up with a woman. And the thing about it is that if we Thanos tap and we actually decided to like give men consequences after the first time, if all women did this, men would have really no choice but to get their shit together. Like they would really have no choice but to. But women are too nice, and it's really really ruined men. I had today when I was on Facebook, like, and it starts with a lot of it starts with the mothers, to be honest. Um the mother is like usually the first example of niceness for young boys. And I seen an article today where I guess a mother had found like $200,000 in her son's bedroom and she called the police. And I was like reading all the comments, and it was so many women who were like, I wouldn't have called the police. I would have sat him down and I would have just figured out a way for us to like launder the money, or for us to try to like figure out a way to get rid of that money. And I'm like, I was flabbergasted when I saw the comments. I was like, are these bots? Like, I really hope that these are bots and these aren't real people that are like commenting this, because I feel like the mother did the right thing. Like, I feel as though if you're going to be living under my roof and you're allowing yourself to be involved with people who are dangerous, because obviously for you to have $200,000 in cash, and you have it hidden, stowed away, you most likely did not get that money legally, and you're living under my roof, which means that if something were to happen to you, they would be coming to my home where I live, and my safety would be at risk. I 100% would call the police on you. And so I feel like that's what mothers should be doing. There's too many mothers out here who it's just there's so much niceness where they're enabling the behavior, and then what happens is that they're now setting the expectation for women in order for these women to date their sons, to marry their sons, etc. Just like that movie Mother with Jennifer Lawrence. Yep, it's the devil's playground if you want to use that terminology. Yes. What a terrible world they've created where a woman's niceness is considered a flaw. Disgusting. Yeah, and the thing about it is that for a lot of women, like there are a lot of women who they don't want to date anymore because more and more women are realizing that in order for you to get what you want with men, I mean, you got to be a dog. Like you actually have to be a terrible person. And so for a lot of women, there are a lot of women who just decide that they're not going to date anymore because it doesn't feel right to them to have to like jump out of their like femininity and jump out of their kind naturedness just to keep a man around because I mean, when you think about it, it's really not normal. It's not normal for you to kind of transform yourself to kind of be this person that would have to be, mean like this just in order for a man to like love you properly or to essentially be appreciative of you being into his life. And so there are plenty of women out there who are like, then I'm just not gonna date then. If me being with a man requires for me to be an asshole to him, I'm just not going to date. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I rather have you be nice and do your own thing, you know what I mean, as opposed to you being nice and you giving your nice energy to other people and giving it to men. Be nice alone. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that. Plus, it seems they like the chase, and once that's over, they start the disrespect. Some, not all. Exactly. Um, at the end of the day, most men are really addicted to toxicity. Because men are socialized to not be nice to one another. I mean, come on, we saw that video yesterday with the three guys on the podcast and how they were like making fun of her. The reason why they're making fun of her is because when those three guys are alone, they're making fun of each other. They're being assholes to each other. That's the reason why. I mean, just listen to their conversation. Just listen to what they led in the conversation with. They're not going to be nice to other women. They're not going to be nice to women because they're not nice to one another. They berate one another. They humiliate one another. They joke on one another. They knock at each other's insecurities. Men aren't nice to other men. So the last thing that they're expecting is for someone to be nice to them. I got one too many clown emojis and I told them to take a hike. Yeah, exactly. So, ultimately, the world doesn't reward your niceness. I mean, honestly, it doesn't. It really just rewards what value you have. And as a woman, especially, you harvesting your energy for yourself, that's what makes you valuable. It does. That's what makes you valuable. And that's the reason why men tell on themselves when they do talk about the whole like body count thing, when they associate that to purity. Because when you really think about it and you break it down, they're saying the quiet part out loud. However, we know that in the real world, they actually wouldn't want you to close your legs because then that means that they wouldn't get access to your body. Men have a lot of cognitive dissonance and they tell on themselves a lot when they have these like rules that women should have to follow because if they're already saying that, okay, well, your purity is tied, they're pretty much saying your purity is tied to you not giving your energy to them. They're saying that the less energy that you give to them, because what's in between your legs is a form of energy. It's the highest form of energy that you have as a woman. They're literally saying that you have more value when you are not giving off your energy to them. And it doesn't just stop at what's in between your legs. It also is when it comes to your interactions with them. It comes to how much you're going to help them, if you're going to build them up. You doing favors for them, cooking and cleaning, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going to tell you all that. They're not going to tell you all that because they understand that if they explain that to you, then they're not going to benefit. But they're already telling you flat out that the less energy you give us, the more value you have, which is the reason why you shouldn't be giving them any of your energy at all, at all, at all. Can we get the likes up, y'all? Can we get the likes up? Can we at least get it to like 95? Because I have a lot more left to talk about. But while you guys do that, I'll read the comments. That's where I'm at. To be honest, I like being nice. I grew up with an angry, mean mother who was abusive to my dad, and my dad was passive. I took after my dad. Exactly. Exactly. And the thing about it is that your upbringing, that also makes a world of a difference. Because see me, um, I grew up with what society would claim to be a mean mother, like because my mother was very assertive, my mother was very dominant, and like my grandma the same way. So I already was kind of like taught where, you know, I shouldn't be taking any shit and I really shouldn't be putting up with things that I don't want to put up with. So yeah, I pretty much took after my mom more because I just had more exposure to that, and it never failed me. It really never failed me. Maybe at the time there were repercussions that I had, like for instance, like issues in the workplace, or men saying that I was too much, or female friends, other women saying that I might have been hard to get along with, or I thought that I was better than everybody because, I always would be very picky about who I would hang around with. And I tend to have a very aloof personality. So just very distant. But it's aside from just the commentary from those people, it's never really been like an issue in the long term. So I'm not a pushover, and also my placements, Capricorn don't put up with shit. Exactly. And in my Western chart, I got a lot of Capricorn placements. So it's rooted in me to just not put up with shit. Okay, so the next part is the psychology of why men don't like nice women. So there really is a science behind this, okay? The science of attraction versus comfort. So first we're going to start off with male psychology and hormones. A lot of this is kind of tied to that book, Why Men Love Bitches. Okay, the author of that book, she pretty much like breaks down like the hormones between like men and women, and how this like causes a certain dynamic where it's kind of like that push and pull, and why men subconsciously do reward women who are more avoidant, who are more bitchy, who are would be considered to be more mean. So I've talked about dopamine before. Dopamine is the chase hormone. Okay. So this is what drives men to want to pursue you and desire you. So when men are doing things like love bombing you, they're love bombing you because they want a dose of dopamine. Okay. They want to give you gifts. They want to text you good morning, beautiful. They want to open the door for you and do all this stuff for you. And the reason why is because they want the dopamine hit of you telling them, "Oh my God, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh, you're so perfect. You're the best man that I ever met." They want that dopamine rush. And the reason being is because men don't get dopamine from women very often. This is the reason why men are so much addicted to corn. Okay. This is the reason why they buy OnlyFans. This is the reason why they go to strip clubs. This is the reason why they hire S workers. I wish this would stop like doing this, making me look like I'm blending in with the walls. Um, but anyway, yeah, and so they are doing all of that because they want a dopamine rush, and they want it from a real woman, and they want it from a woman that they have linked to and that they have gotten to know. That's the number one reason why they are doing that. And so when they can't get it in that form, that's when they start watching porn, video games, things like that. Do you have any Gemini in your chart? Love the channel, by the way. Been binge watching the whole of last week. Yeah, I have. I'm a Gemini moon. That's why I want to have a Capricorn baby. Yep. Why do men only want you, ignore you until once they see other men wanting you and talking to you? Because it's novelty. Because women do the same thing, right? It's psychology. It's basic psychology. It creates a curiosity gap. You even see this on social media. Usually, you're gonna click on a video that has a high amount of views. I always check myself on this subconsciously when I'm on things like TikTok. When you're on your For You page on TikTok, if you use TikTok, the first thing you're usually like, I want you to pay close attention to this and like really clock yourself when you're doing this. The first thing, that the reason why they put Like they literally study this shit. They know exactly where most people are going to grab the phone and where your thumb is. That's the reason why on TikTok, that's why the algorithm is so good. That's why TikTok is so popular. And even on Instagram on the reels, even on YouTube for the shorts, they put the placement in the likes right where your thumb is, because the first thing that they want you to look at is the likes. Because what happens is that if you saw 100,000 people like something, the first part subconsciously in your brain is going to say, what is on this video that made 100,000 people like this video? So that will make you want to watch the video, right? It's the same exact thing. It's just human nature. It is just human nature. It's just psychology. That is just how we are wired as people. This dude ignored me for 2 years because I declined to sleep with him just to try being nice to me again because I was talking to two of his friends while he was present. Men are weird. Yeah. Yep. And this is the reason why one of the first things that you should do, if like you have like a falling out with a guy, and like let's just say it wasn't anything like abusive or narcissistic or anything like that, one of the first things you should do is like show yourself with another guy, show yourself out with the girl, show yourself like enjoying your life, because naturally on a psychological level that will make people want to be more drawn into you once they've withdrawn. Like I said, I break down all of this stuff on my Patreon. It's $7 a month. I do all of the psychoanalysis on human nature and how to leverage these types of dynamics in your dating life. Okay, so we talked about dopamine. Okay, and so the next hormone is testosterone. Okay, it's your hormone. It's the hormone that is tied to dominance. Okay, this is what makes men hunters. This is what makes men crave a challenge, be competitive, have that more of like a reward type of thing. So this is also the reason why men are always on their best behavior when they are first trying to pursue you, right? They're being testosterone driven because whether you like it or not, for most men, the reward is going to be sex. It's going to be them sleeping with you. That is what their end goal is. Any woman that doesn't want to believe that or can't accept that, I don't know what to tell you. But the first reason why, like, you thinking in your head, oh, well, what does he want from me? Why is he talking to me? Yada, yada, yada. The first thing that you should be thinking is that he wants to sleep with me. Okay, that's the first thing that you should be thinking. And if you don't see yourself sleeping with this guy, if this is not someone that you don't see yourself sleeping with, then you should not talk to him. And I've literally had men tell me this outright, like men telling me this outright because you know, I had a phase in my life where I really thought that, I try to take my blinders off and I really try to like put on rose colored glasses, for a moment and tell myself, no, like these men are good people. Like, they really do want these, deep, loving connections and things like that. And so what would happen is that like for instance, there will be women, it'll be like after a date or maybe like after 2 dates or 3 dates. And what'll happen is pretty much essentially you'll go over to their house and like you're not thinking of sleeping with them, but you're already at their house and they're like pretty much like trying to make a move on you. Well, yeah, that's what they wanted to do the first time. And so it's like I get it from both sides because women will be like, well, why? Like women don't like the fact that men are so sexually driven because the reason why is because they have a high amount of testosterone. But also at the same token, women also don't want to be objectified. And so it's one of those things where I always urge women, if you don't want to sleep with him, don't even let him take you out on a date because that's what he's expecting. And you're in my opinion, you're safer that way. You really are safer by understanding that the number one reason why a man is wanting to be with you is because of what is in between your legs. So if you don't want to give off that energy to this man, if you don't want to get to know him to give him that energy, don't give him a chance. Just don't do it. Um, oh, what did he say? So, like, for instance, so like that's what I ended up doing. Like, I went over to a guy's house and like I didn't sleep with him. And I had like several male friends be like, "Oh my god, like yeah, like what would be the point of you going over to his house and like you didn't want to sleep with him because obviously he took you out on like a few dates and like you didn't want to sleep with him." And the guy had brought it up, the guy's house that I had went over with, because honestly, like I wasn't attracted to him, but he honestly was a trick. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, he was a trick. And so I definitely wasn't attracted to him. I really was just like using him. And I remember like I left his house or whatever, and he wasn't like weird or anything like that. I just was not physically attracted to him, but he was like super respectful, no issue there. But I remember he was like, "You just seemed like you didn't want to reciprocate, like you didn't really seem as though like you were into me." And like I told him straight up, I was like, "You know what, honestly, physically I'm not attracted to you." And then also aside from the physicality issue, he was too much. He had no boundaries with his family. No boundaries with his family. And I am going to make a video about that this week, talking about like men being enmeshed with their mothers and actually how that whole thing of, oh, you can tell a man by how great he is based off his relationship with his mother. That's like one of the biggest lies that we have been told as women. I don't agree with that advice at all. I feel like that advice is the reason why women get married to men. And once they get married, they're married to a man where the his mom, so the wife's mother-in-law, she realizes like he's listening to his mother-in-law more than he's listening to his wife. He's doing everything that his mom is saying and nothing that his wife is saying or agreeing with anything like that. And so he had no boundaries with his family and he was constantly giving his family money and then complaining about it. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to have a future where I have to deal with this. Like, I could only imagine being married to a man like this. And we're having finances and like there's something that like I want to do financially. I want to go on vacation and he's like, "Well, I can't do it because I had to give my family $2,000 this month." And it's like, you're not married to your family. You're not indebted to your family. And so that was also like a big issue for me. Actually loved my ex mother-in-law. She was crazy and not nice to my ex, but she liked me. Haha. Yeah, and that's another thing too. One thing I will respect is I love the moms who they actually will like, I don't want to say like treat their sons like shit, but they will be like a little bit off, they'll be a little bit off and like they kind of might be an asshole to their son, but at least they're nice to you. Like at least they hold their sons accountable. Some of us were meant to be nuns and living a chaste life in a convent. Exactly. Exactly. But we don't have a modern equivalent to that beyond to the church. Women are far more picky because we are prey and carry the eggs. Exactly. And men hate that. Men, like I said before, men have a lot of cognitive dissonance. It's like they want you to practice value with your purity, but then they're also asking you, well, why don't you give us a chance? You know, how come 80% of women go to the top 20% of men? And it's like, because as a woman, we carry way more risk. We have a much, much, much higher risk of like STD exposure, pregnancy, abuse, and things like that. Women have no choice but to be pickier. Like, come on. Okay, and so the next one is testosterone, or I already said testosterone, oxytocin. So this is the bonding hormone, and then someone else mentioned vasopressin. Just give me a second. So Sorry. Okay, so I already said that oxytocin is the bonding hormone. This is oxytocin is much bigger in women than it is in men. So, whenever women are sleeping with a man, you are gonna release a lot more oxytocin, and then you also release oxytocin through breastfeeding. That's the number one reason why, like, you'll have women who they'll be breastfeeding like a fucking 5 year old. Like, I've seen some women like go as far as up to like 7 years old breastfeeding their sons. Like, I've literally seen like a 7 year old boy like literally lift his mom's shirt up and like get her titty out to yeah. And the reason being is because she is addicted to the oxytocin. She is addicted to that hormone of bonding with her. Yeah, it's disgusting. Just the thought of it. But she's addicted to the oxytocin that's being released through the pair bonding and through the hormone that is being released while she's breastfeeding. Okay. And then vasopressin. Okay. So vasopressin, when it comes to relationships with women, it's associated with high end male behavior. So things like protectiveness, commitment, and male guarding, and pretty much it's the love hormone. Okay, and so it promotes pair bonding with men, and so compare oxytocin levels that are compared with women and men. Vasopressin is going to rise. It's going to rise when forming a close bond with a partner, and so this is also inhibited through stress. So that's the reason why it's like their protective nature. So this is also a reason why men don't really like nice women, because you kind of do want to like channel some sense of vasopressin in them, because it gets regulated through stress or some type of problem solving or some type of protectiveness in them. And so this is the reason why it's very, very important. I feel like you're always going to know a man best when you put him in two predicaments: when you tell him no and when you inconvenience him. Okay. Because the thing about it too is that when it comes to hormones also dictate your emotions on some type of level. And so the thing that I don't like 100% about that book, Why Men Love Bitches, is because it doesn't tie into the fact that in addition to these hormones that are happening, you also have to have emotional regulation as well when it comes to these hormones. So, like, for instance, okay, yes, men do release vasopressin, and so that makes them want to undergo a challenge. It allows them to want to undergo trying to solve a problem. But when a man is not emotionally regulated, that means that one of two things can happen for him to try to solve a problem. Most men are not emotionally regulated. Come on back, bring some color back to me. I've already been complaining about how I'm ready for the sun to come out so I can get a little bit more color. But anyway, men aren't taught how to emotionally regulate. And so this is the reason why that when it comes to these books, like when Why Men Love Bitches, and you understanding these hormones, men don't emotionally regulate. So when they have vasopressin, they're going to there's multiple ways to solve a problem, right? So if a man wants to sleep with you, he has a problem to solve, right? That's his problem. His problem that he has in front of him is she won't sleep with me, right? And so through that vasopressin, through that problem solving, through that chase, there are multiple ways that men will go through lack of emotional regulation in order to solve this problem. So they may RAPE you in order to solve their problem. They may coerce you in order to solve this problem. And so that's the part of the whole hormonal thing that people never discuss, or that people never talk about. The same thing with women with oxytocin. Okay, yes, it's pair bonding, and it is a hormone that is induced through your connection with another person. But if you don't know how to emotionally regulate, you will let your oxytocin have you be in abusive relationships because you have such a lack of emotional regulation when it comes to this pair bonding. So that's like the second part of what has to tie along into these hormones is your ability to be able to emotionally regulate. And this is the reason why I feel like a very good question to ask a man is to ask him, what do you do to emotionally regulate? Because you have to think testosterone. Men have a lot of testosterone, but if a man does not know how to emotionally regulate, he will let his testosterone pew pew up a school. He will allow his testosterone to punch holes in walls. He will allow his testosterone to yell at you, to cuss you out, because he doesn't know how to emotionally regulate. And so, the reason why I know all of this stuff, and the reason why I'm able to understand that your emotional regulation also ties into your hormones is because I did bodybuilding. Okay. And I was taking juice, I was taking synthetic hormones that was going to up my testosterone in order for me to build more muscle. And so I had already known, and my coach had already let me know that, like, listen, whatever you already have like deeply rooted inside of you, and whatever lack of control that you have, whatever lack of control you already in your life, when you take these hormones, when you have more testosterone, all it's going to do is highlight it. So all of that like roid rage, and like when you hear about men when they're on testosterone and they become very like angry and things like that, they didn't become angry. Okay, the hormone never made them become angry. They've always been angry. Okay, it's just they've never had to be put in a situation where they've had to really try hard to emotionally regulate themselves to the point where they have to practice a sense of self control. This is the reason why men are always saying, we're biologically wired to cheat. We're biologically wired to cheat. Yes, technically, with testosterone, it does increase your sex drive. However, the second part of that is emotional regulation, because testosterone, when your testosterone is high, it can get so high where if you don't control yourself, it will ruin your life. And the thing about it is that men don't ever stop themselves from making decisions that can absolutely ruin their life, because they're too stuck on just the biology of their hormones and not understanding your biochemistry and what comes along with your emotions being tied to those hormones. Gee, so men are basically ticking time bombs. Yes, they are. They're pretty much ticking time bombs, because the biggest thing is that it's really emotional regulation. Okay. All of this hormonal breakdown, it only will mean so much as long as you are with a person who is they can't emotionally regulate. And most men aren't doing that. Giving in to basic instincts like an animal. Exactly. Exactly. Because humans, okay, humans, unlike other species of animals, we're able to use more reasoning. We're able to use logic. And so we have more compartments in our brain that allow us to think deeper, and we don't have to do everything just like autonomically, like just through subconsciously through survival. Men are just basic level beings. They're just basic level beings, and they're constantly telling us this. So I feel like that's like very, very important for women to understand. So you should always be asking a man, what do you do to emotionally regulate? If he makes you repeat yourself, if he makes you ask, if he makes you, well, what does that mean? What do you mean by emotional regulation? You just be like, never mind. Don't even worry about it. And never talk to him again, because he's not going to do anything to make your life easier. He's not. He's not gonna know how to be a good person. And he's not gonna know how to be a good person to you, because he doesn't even know what it means. He doesn't even know what process he needs to go to or go through in order for him to have an issue have a conflict, have a urge, and understand to think and be like, okay, like my wife is great, my wife is faithful, my wife does everything for me. I have to weigh out my options. Is this stranger? Is this really worth this? They don't ever sit down to emotionally regulate and like figure out how am I gonna solve this issue? How am I gonna overcome this issue? This is also the reason why men tend to be family annihilators. Okay, they're using their vasopressin in combination with their testosterone to solve a problem, and because men don't know how to emotionally regulate, instead of them using reasoning and logic and actually sitting down to emotionally regulate and say, okay, I'm angry or I'm upset or I'm dissatisfied, them actually sitting and identifying their emotions, they skip that step. And so what happens is their first thing is, okay, the quickest way for me to solve the problem is for me to just eradicate the problem. So I'm going to annihilate my whole family. So that's the reason why men will make these rash decisions like that. It's lack of them being able to confront their emotions and sitting down with them. So really a big problem with nice girls, okay, when it comes to how women are essentially ruining men's hormones when you're nice to a man and pretty much what you're doing to him hormonally. um they're Men are already wanting dopamine, and so this is why you'll always hear women say like you cannot sleep with him too soon. Okay, you kind of have to like wait it out for as long as possible, because that's what they're pursuing. They're pursuing sleeping with you, and dopamine is what's going to trigger off their pursuit and their desire for you. You need to stress them out first. Okay, you need to stress them out first, and they need to be able to show that they can emotionally regulate. And so this is why it's important where you inconvenience them, you tell them no. Okay, too early on, women want to make it so easy for men. Well, I don't want to ask him. What if I tell him this? How is he going to react? I don't want to inconvenience him. I don't want to bother him. You should be bothering him. You should be inconveniencing him. The sooner that you inconvenience him, the sooner that you tell him no, you'll waste less time, because then you'll be able to know, oh, okay, like if you tell a guy no and he grabs your arm, you already know he doesn't know how to emotionally regulate. He's driven 100% by his hormones. No, no, you'll be nice for 6 months, you'll be nice for a year, and then you finally tell someone no after you've been nice to them for that long. And then guess what? After that's when something crazy is going to happen, where they're going to flip over a table, they're going to punch a hole in the wall, and then you finally see, oh my god, like he's a completely different person. Yeah, the reason why he's a completely different person is because you have never put him in this situation before. If you just would have told him no when you really wanted to say no at the very beginning, you would be out of the situation already. I think crime stats prove this as well. Exactly. I'm late to class, but I'm here. Welcome. That's why they are such addicts and substance abusers. Yep, they send girls out like lambs among the wolves. No real guidance. Yeah, exactly. Women don't know this stuff. Women aren't taught this stuff. You remind me so much of Am Talks, your mindset and way of speaking and body language. I'm not familiar with that creator. I'll have to look. I thought this realm is a loosh machine for quite a while. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, you gotta trigger out their vasopressin, make them solve a problem, and not make their life easier. And then once they do things to make your life easier on a consistent basis, and you've seen how they've responded to you telling them no, then you can give them a hit of dopamine. And it's wash, rinse, repeat at that point. Once you can get a man to consistently be okay with working through his vasopressin and then being rewarded with dopamine, most of the time you're gonna be in a pretty good situation with men. But it's very rare. It's very rare where you're gonna find a man that will be able to do that. Humans can emotionally regulate because our prefrontal cortex is bigger, but women's brains are more defined, rigid, equal better emotional regulation and self awareness. Exactly. Men have the ability. Men 100% have the ability. It's just it's a lot easier for women. It's a whole lot easier for women because we were here first. Okay, women were here first. Women are the superior gender. So when it comes to this whole like breakdown with like the hormones, I'm sure as a woman you've heard this, men are wired to value what they work for. Okay. And so when you're too available, when you're too easygoing, when you're too accommodating, it doesn't activate any dopamine in them. And this is why, for a lot of men, nice girls are boring. This is the reason why they'll marry the nice girl and they'll go cheat. They'll go cheat on the nice girl with a 304, with a woman with another married woman, with a woman who is completely emotionally unavailable because she's unpredictable. She's not dropping everything to see him. She's telling him, listen, I'm busy, so I'll see you when I see you. She's not texting him every day. And so he's in his mind like, well, when am I going to see her? When am I going to hear from her? What mood is she going to be in today? That's what men really like. That's what men really like. They don't want that. It's just if they have the option and I have that on the day to day, they're just going to not have it on the day. They're not going to have it every day. You know what I mean? On their day to day, it's going to make their life easier when they have something predictable. But that doesn't change the fact that that they're still going to crave a little bit of unpredictability, a little bit of craziness. Also, men crave novelty and men crave a challenge, okay? When you're nice and when you're self sacrificing, it's not exciting. It's boring. It's going to be super, super boring because they already know, oh, it's time for me to go to work. I know that the lunch is going to be packed. I know she's going to give me a kiss. And the thing about it is that when you're nice, and when you're predictable, you're making it so easy for him to cheat on you. You're making it so easy for him to cheat on you. And the thing about it is that what'll happen is a lot of women think that they can work around this by just being controlling. So doing things like, oh, I'll check his phone. That's never gonna work. Because guess what? Now you're predictable. You're predictable. He knows you check his phone. So guess what? Because you're predictable and he knows you're checking his phone, now all he's going to do is just do all the things necessary to make sure that when you look at his phone, there's nothing there. Like you're still not thinking. That's not how you play the game. That's not how you play the game. What you do, the things that you do in order to not be predictable, you make yourself unavailable. You start a new hobby and you start a new hobby without him. Oh, well, now she's starting a new hobby. You throw on lingerie some random night. You change your hair color some random day. You change your makeup. You cook something different. You have an attitude. Something that would impress you, all of a sudden it doesn't impress you. These are the type of like ridiculous mind games that men like because this is how men are. This is how, like, I don't know, I guess you could say like demented in a way. How they are. Like it's really, really, I don't know, it's really sick when you think about it. That sounds exhausting because it is exhausting. And men are always wondering, well, how come you're not in your femininity? How come you're not in your femininity? Because they want a man. They want a man. In order for you to have to do all this shit, in order to actually have a man like reduce his chances of cheating on you, acting right, it's because he wants another man. Because on a natural level, women don't do this. Women aren't trying to figure out ways to manipulate. Women aren't trying to figure out ways to make a man upset. Women aren't trying to like poke the bear and like get a reaction out of a man. That's not what women do. That's not what we do on a feminine level. You'll tap into those. That's dark femininity. You'll tap into that when it's needed. But if you gotta, but men want you to be like that like 80% of the time, and that's just not women. That's just not how women operate. That's how men operate. Exactly. They basically want us to move the goalpost that they do. Exactly. That's 100% what it is. Constantly moving the goalpost. And then they say things, well, women are never satisfied. Women are never satisfied. No, it's not that women are never satisfied. It's that men are always changing what they want. It's something different every day what they want. And so that's the reason why they don't want someone that's predictable. They want a steak one day, then they want a sandwich on the side, then they want a salad the next day, then they want fruit the next day, then they want junk food the day after that. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. And you also have to realize that also on the flip side of this, your niceness, your lack of niceness is also being tied to just not doing any of it. Just not doing any of it. And being like, no, I won't deal with a man at all then. If I have to do all this shit, I just won't deal with a man at all. I would just hoard my niceness for me. I'll hoard my niceness to my family. I'll hoard my niceness for my homegirls. I'll hoard my niceness for helping the community. I will just give my niceness to other projects and other people who will embrace my niceness, and I just won't give it to men, and I'm not going to be a manipulative asshole just to keep a man around, because technically that's you not being nice, because technically you're flipping the script, because you, at the end of the day, men, you as a woman, you've pretty much been conditioned for your niceness to only go to men. Right? This is why women will you'll drop your girlfriends quicker than you'll drop the boyfriend that's cheating on you, because you've been conditioned to have your niceness only benefit men. You won't give a girlfriend a fraction of the grace that you've given a man. So even if you decide that I'll only be nice to me and the people that I care about, in a patriarchal society, that's you being mean. That's the reason why men will call you a misandrist when you say that you don't want to get married, that you don't want to have children. Oh my God, you're such a misandrist. Oh my God, you're so mean. You mean you don't want to get married? That's not fair. You having standards, men don't get mad at you having standards. You're a misandrist. You hate men. Exactly, because for men, that's you not being nice. You having standards for a man is you not fucking being nice. That to them, you're mean. And so this is the reason why for a lot of men, they're instinctively attracted to women who they would, I guess, would be considered like bitches. You know what I mean? And it's because they know how to pretty much manipulate their vasopressin and their dopamine. And so these are the type of women that do what I'll say. There's really only 3 things that you have to do. You have to set boundaries. You have to be a little bit unpredictable, and you just have to make men feel like they have to earn your energy. It's just very, very hard to find men that want to deal with that at this point, because we've babied them so much. We've babied men so much by all the niceness that they get mad when you're setting a boundary. You know, they've gotten a lot of women who are predictable, so they're like, no, I want a woman that's predictable now, because it's going to be easier for me to cheat. It's going to be easier for me to be able to siphon her energy. And so things have been out of balance for a very, very long time. And so now that things are slowly but surely, the scales are starting to kind of balance back, and things are slowly starting to get back to natural order, we're seeing more and more of this happening, where women are like, no, like, it's either you're doing what I say, you're gonna honor my boundaries, or like, that's it. Like, I'm not gonna maintain the relationship with you. If things don't get better, I'm walking away. And so slowly but surely, women are starting to, tip the scales in their favor, where men now have to work in order to be in your energy, because I feel like women are finally starting to wake up and realize the power and the energy that they have. Exactly. It's too much work. Got to the point, I don't care what men want, don't want to be in a relationship with anyone but myself. He's so sweet to me though. I mean, that's good, but my thing is this, you don't have to be an asshole to a man that's sweet to you. Like for instance, okay, like there's a guy that like I deal with or whatever, and he's sweet to me, but it's just like I'm not gonna text him all the time. He doesn't even like take my compliments for real. He doesn't take my compliments for real. So guess what? I just don't compliment him anymore. You know what I mean? And for a lot of women will feel like that's being mean. But he doesn't take my compliments. Like he really doesn't take my compliments. So for most of my relationships, I've had pretty good relationships, and the reason being is because when men tell me either when men tell me or either they signal to me that they don't want me to do something, I just don't do it. And I think that's an issue with a lot of women. A lot of women want to try to be two steps ahead of what they think a man wants them to do, when in reality, a man does not want you to do any of that. Like, I feel like some women, like if they were in my shoes and they were dealing with a man who didn't know how to take compliments, she would try to like teach that man how to start taking compliments and like try to boost his self-esteem and like try to make him feel better. No, I'm never doing that. I'm never doing that, because guess what? You're going to boost his self esteem and you're going to make his head big. And then what's going to happen? He's going to start thinking that he has more pull than he really does. This is also the reason why, as a woman, you have to be picky. Like, you should only be dealing with men that are at your level, are at your standard, because you'll be so nice that you think that you're doing a man a favor, when all you're doing, you're just boosting up his self-esteem for him to go feel confident to go be with another woman. Like, no. No, because guess what? The best situation that you can have when it comes to dealing with a man is for a man to at least be secure in himself enough, but also realize, okay, she looks better than me. She could leave me at any time, but it's cool. Like, it is what it is. It's fine. And so if he understands, listen, I'm really not all that. I understand that. I understand that if you could have any man in the world, you wouldn't pick my ass. Like, that's essentially what that guy is saying. You could have any man in the world you freaking wanted to. And I know that if you could have an option to pick anyone, it really wouldn't be me. I'm really not all that. Like, it's cool. It's really not that big of a deal. Okay, you got it. You got it, player. That's cool. That is cool. As long as you don't dump an insecurity onto me, or try to make me feel bad about myself because you may not feel good about yourself, cool. As long as that doesn't happen, cool. But I'm not doing all that. A man once told me that I wasn't feminine because I didn't kiss him every time that he asked me to. I'm not about to stop cooking to give you a kiss. Yeah, that's too clingy. He needs too much validation. He needs too much validation. I'm sorry. I like men who don't require a lot of validation, because I understand that if they don't require a lot of validation from me, then that means that in most cases they don't require a lot of validation out in the real world. That's the reason why that guy was like, he not real quick to take a compliment from me, because he's like, I'm cool. Like, I'm an average dude. Like, I'm really not this like great person. And yes, I think on some level they know they don't deserve it. 100%. 100%. And it doesn't even take a bad guy to think like this. Like, it will actually be a man, and he would be considered a good man. Like, he would be considered to have all his shit together. Like, this guy, he has his shit together. He's generally a nice guy. But at the end of the day, men don't get attention. Men are invisible. Men are overlooked. Men don't get accolades. Men don't get praise. Men don't get boosted up. And so there are two different ways that men deal with that. You have the self-loathing man that's like, boo-hoo, I don't get any attention, I'm invisible, oh my God, I have to cheat, I have to abuse a woman, I have to dominate a woman to make me feel good about myself. Or you have the other guy that's like, listen, it is what it is. I can emotionally regulate myself to overcome these thoughts and these feelings, understanding that as a man, I'm just not going to get a whole lot of attention. I'm just going to be invisible and I'm just going to work through it as best as I can. Like point blank, period. A man should never get between a woman and her skillet. Exactly. Cause you get between me and my skillet, your head gonna be cracked like an egg. I'm 26. At this point, I'm okay if I never get married or have kids. I want to travel and make money to take care of my mom and sis. If I deal with a man, I want him to give me things and do stuff for me. Point blank, period. That's it. That's all. The only men that you should be dealing with are men that benefit you in whatever way that you see fit. In whatever you see fit. I would say for majority of women, that's going to be through money. You know what I mean? But also, women are out here making a lot of fucking money. Women are out here getting in their fucking bag. And so I feel like even the women who are high earning, there are still ways that you can extract energy from men without using their money. I talked about this on Patreon. Once again, if you want to get more information, you can join my Patreon. The link is in my bio. And I've been like trying to pin it. Yeah, it's even in the description. I know it's in the description. But I actually talked about this in one of my Patreon posts that I ended up making, where if especially if you have a roster, not every single person on your roster has to give you money. It would be nice. It would be ideal. But not every single woman in the world is a woman where it's like, you think this is the reason why celebrities, women celebrities, this is why they're always like typically dating down, because number one, they don't have as many options to be able to date up because they're already earning a lot of money. But typically, it's because there's a different sector of their life outside of finances where they can benefit in some way. So if you're someone trying to go into business, you have enough money, you have like an investor and stuff like that, you could have someone be able to provide a space for you. You know what I mean? Oh, like I have a rental area, I have a rental property, you can check it out and I can rent it out to you, no big deal. You can still extract energy and resources from men through multiple ways, through their knowledge, through their pocket, through their connections. He told me that nobody tells him no. That day I told him, well, they must be desperate if they only tell you yes. He was so pissed. I don't want to pick up chip and candy wrappers left around my bed or smelling chip and onions when they don't want to have to get to keep. Oh, have to gatekeep. Get out, get out of my house, get out of my life. Damn. I told my ex that too. I literally told my ex that too because this is another thing about you being a nice woman or not. Men will purposely test your boundaries to see how nice you are, to see what they can get away with. So like I had invited my ex over and I told him, I need you out my house by 10 o'clock because I have to go to work at 1 and I want me time before I go to work. So he was like coming, like it was getting close to 10 o'clock. And I remember he was like making excuses and he kept saying like, oh, I'm on my way to leave. And then like another 20 minutes later, oh, I'm about to leave. Oh, I'm about to leave. And so I like told him straight up, I'm like, okay, so you keep saying that you're going to leave and like you haven't left yet. Like, are you going to leave or no? Like, what are you doing? Like, I want my me time. Are you leaving or no? What the hell is going on? Like, and then he played the victim card. I don't like how you came at me when you said that if you were asking me if you were going to leave, and I'm like, you done said about 3 times you were about to leave, so you might as well leave at this point. I want to get myself ready and prepared to go to work. I have a routine that I like for myself in order for me to go to work. And after I did that, we weren't together much longer after that. We were not together much longer after that because no, I want my space and I want time to myself before work. And if the shoe were on the other foot, he would want you to do the same for him. He would want you to do the same for him. Imagine he's like, oh, this weekend I'm gonna go on a golfing trip with my homeboys. What do you think would happen if you popped up at the golfing trip? You popped up at the golfing outing. Oh, well, I was bored at home. And so I just decided I didn't want to be alone. So I just decided I would come to the golfing trip. He would look at you like you were fucking crazy. He would look at you sideways and go talk to you and have you go take your ass back home. Because that's a boundary. He don't want you there. Just like I didn't want him there. If we have a roster of men, wouldn't they want or expect something in return? Because they are smart to know not to invest their time, money with no perks. This is why you have to have a roster, because at some point they're going to want to have a return on their investment. So guess what? Hopefully by then they don't know where you live. Like I said, I talk about all this on my Patreon. They won't know where you live. They won't know much about you. You would have played into the mysticism. They don't know enough about you. So where you ghost them, you'll ghost them, and they'll be like, oh shit, well, I mean, like, yeah, like she did take my money. And like, of course, they're going to feel some way about like you taking their money. But it's like, they don't know enough about you. You just block them. And then you just go on to the next one. Because the thing about it is that you're going to be there for a good time and not a long time. You know what I mean? When you're playing that game of having a roster, it's a good time, not a long time. So some men get upset when you have an organized lifestyle. Oh, 100%, because they understand that you have boundaries, and they understand that they just can't weasel their way in your life. And they also understand that you're just not going to drop everything in order to be with him. And for a man that's insecure, and for a man that values a lot of validation, a man that's going to knock at his ego. That's not going to make him feel good about himself. Any man that truly values you, any man that truly cares about you and respects you, he's never going to want you to compromise things that you enjoy doing or your boundaries or anything like that. And this is why you can't be nice. You got to be firm on your boundaries and firm on your things. If you don't want someone overstaying their welcome, don't let them overstay their welcome. If you don't want someone hitting you up at 10 o'clock, hey, let's go grab drinks, let's go get dinner, and they're just throwing a plan on you, you don't go out with them. You don't accept the plan. Like, a man only has one time. He only got one time to do some crazy ass shit, such as ask me like late at night, hey, let's go grab a drink. Let me take you out. No. I literally tell men, no, call me back when you actually have a plan set 4 to 5 days in advance, and then I'll see you then. Well, okay, you have a good night. Click. And then if they want to do it or not, they'll call me back and they'll be like, oh, so where do you want to go so I can make plans to see you? And they'll just fucking do it. Okay, so the next part is the reality, okay? The reality of how men treat nice women, okay? Men don't respect nice women at all. They use nice women. Point blank, period. Okay, you being nice is not going to guarantee you a wedding ring. It's not going to guarantee you loyalty. It's not going to guarantee you any respect. As a matter of fact, it's almost as if you are nice, it's almost as if you'll never get those things. It's almost as if the opposite will happen. You'll never get a ring. He'll never respect you. He'll never be loyal to you if you're nice. Because what would be the point at that point? You're doing everything for him that he wants, and he didn't have to earn it. Men use nice women for a few things. Okay. They like to use nice women for their comfort and for their ego boost. This is the reason why I just told you guys with the guy that I'm dealing with, I don't compliment him anymore, because he don't want his ego boosted. And he shouldn't want his ego boosted. He shouldn't want his ego boosted. He should like himself enough. He should be self-assured enough where he's boosting his own ego, and his validation and his self-worth is not coming from a woman giving him compliments. you doing things in order to make him feel comfortable. So, you not wanting to take a promotion, or you not wanting to take that nice job where you are going to now be out earning him. I literally just seen a post. I just seen a post. I think it was on Facebook. I don't know if it was real or not, but I guess the woman she got engaged and she got a job offer, and she was going to be making 3 times more than her husband, or soon to be husband, fiance. And I guess her fiance had like given her an ultimatum and was like, either you're gonna let me marry you, or you're gonna take your new job where you're gonna be making 3 times as much as me, because I can't be married to a woman who would be making 3 times as much as me. And guess what she did? She chose the goddamn job. She chose the goddamn job, because no worthy man would ever have you make a decision like that. He wants to artificially create a dynamic where his ego is boosted. No. No, no, no. Women are getting more and more smart when it comes to them not jumping the second that someone asks them to marry them. I seen another post on TikTok. It was a woman. She called off her engagement. Listen to this. This is what's fucking crazy. And it was like, this was divine intervention. I'm telling you, this is how you know women are getting locked into the spirit. Women are paying attention to the signs in front of them. It was going to be a couple like days before their wedding, right? She called off the wedding because she was on Facebook. She clicked on a post, and the post had pretty much said that, like, if you are a man and you're married to a woman, your wife, she should be cooking for you, cleaning for you, being submissive to you, doing all of these things for you. And so she said that during the time that they were together, that was never a requirement for him. It was never a requirement for him. Her soon-to-be husband made a comment on the post, and she read it, and he literally typed, yeah, when I'm a husband, I plan to make my wife cook and clean and be submissive. And if she decides not to be submissive, I will force her into submission. And she called off the wedding. She didn't marry him. She took that as a sign. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Because a lot of men will do that. They will completely switch up because they think, oh, well, I married you, so now I own you. Now you're indebted to me. Now you're a slave of mine because now I married you. And she ended up calling off the wedding. She took the sign and she paid attention, and she was like, nope, I'm not going to do it, because that would have been her future. It was meant for her to see him make that comment. I had an ex tell me to quit my job because I travel for work. I told him no and broke up with him. Exactly. I used to be nice and the housewife type, was treated like a last option. Yeah, men don't. I'm telling you, men only use nice women. They don't respect nice women. They don't honor nice women. They don't do right by nice women. No, there is no reward for being nice. I'm in the house for good if the sun is down. I heard that. Oh, you can get married real quick if you're too nice, and then you get to be his mommy. Yeah, that's all it takes. All you have to do is be a doormat to get married. Like, men will be like, well, that's why you can't keep a man. Do you know how easy it is to keep a man? And I always remind men this. The issue was never about keeping a man. How is the issue keeping a man when women are filing for divorce 70% of the time? That means y'all can't keep a woman. That means y'all's success rate is only 30% of keeping a woman. And you're going to try to sit here and throw it in women's faces that they can't keep a man? No. Statistics show that you can only keep a woman 30% of the time. So clearly, you being kept ain't the goddamn problem. It's you not being able to keep a woman, because you're getting left, buddy. How do we date without being emotionally invested, even when there is a roster? Because it's so hard to not develop feelings or to be true to myself, since I still want a man. Essentially everything that you are emotionally investing into another person is due to the lack of what you're emotionally investing into yourself. Okay? So usually women will emotionally invest into a man because the man is being nice to him, you know? Um which means that you're not getting any form of niceness anywhere else, like, or you're not embracing the niceness that you're getting from anywhere else. And this is all from societal conditioning, because as a woman you're pretty much trained to be nice, to benefit men, and then you're told that it's going to benefit you. And then you're also taught to put men's opinion on a pedestal in comparison to everyone else. So, like, you'll wear an outfit, right? A man will compliment you, and then a woman will compliment you. And let's just say it's a man that you're attracted to. You'll be, oh my God, he complimented me. He likes me. I like him. You'll be overjoyed over that compliment. But then a woman that's a stranger will compliment you, and you're just like, oh, thanks. And it's because, and the only difference is because you like him. But if you liked you more than you liked the man, you would just look in the mirror and be like, I'm cute, I'm pretty, my outfit is nice, I look good. So you don't get emotionally attached by understanding that you have to like yourself more than you like anyone else. Because guess what? The best dynamic with a man is when he likes you more. When he likes you more. Most of the time, the woman likes the man more. It's always my man, my man, my man. I never seen no my girl, my girl, my girl. I never seen that. I don't see men saying that on the internet. You're not going to see that on the internet because the woman usually likes the man more, and it's because you're too goddamn nice. It's because you don't like yourself enough. Also understanding that the best way for men to manipulate you is through you being emotionally vulnerable. That's the reason why they want you to do things like go 50-50. That's the reason why they want to say things like, "Oh, well, I'll text you good morning beautiful every day. You know, I'll give you kisses every day. I'll rub your back, I'll rub your feet. I'll do this, I'll do that." Yes, that's to get you emotionally vulnerable because they understand that that's your weakness. Once you understand that you being emotionally attached to a man is really just you being is just you being vulnerable and you being prey to a man, you'll snap out of it real fast. But I'll do a video on like how you can emotionally detach because it takes work. It definitely doesn't happen overnight. I called mine off weeks beforehand. I don't regret it. And he paid all the bills. Still not worth it. Exactly. Because a lot of this, the thing about it too is that when women are like, "Oh, I want a provider man, I want a provider man," this is what a lot of women don't realize. All of the information that men get off of the internet or any information in general, men don't use that information for good. Like, y'all do realize that, right? For a lot of men, men want to become a provider to be with a woman to control that woman because being a provider is only rooted in what he does, not who he is. This is the reason why a lot of men don't like women that make a whole lot of money because you no longer will care about what he does. You care about who he is. And men know that they're not good people. They know this. This is the reason why they say when you sleep with a lot of them, your value goes down. They're already telling on themselves. They're literally saying the more men that you deal with, these men are tainting you because men know that they're not good people. So when you're doing your sprinkle and men are seeing Shira 7 sprinkle, just like there's Dusties in the comment section calling us gold diggers, calling us broke, calling us this, calling us that, there are men commenting nothing saying, okay, so that's what I have to do to get a woman. And he got the playbook out. He writing everything down. Okay, this is what they like. He looking at the comments. Okay, all I need to do is get some money. Cool. Cool. And that's exactly what they'll do. They'll go out, get as much money as possible, and be like, cool, I'm a provider. I got the money. I'll marry you because I'm a provider and I'll treat you like shit. Perfect. How do you go from nice to not? Well, I just kind of tapped into it. Let me answer a couple more things in the live chat. And that's really the next thing that I'm going to talk about is how you can break out of being so nice to these men. My ex complained about me not being vulnerable. Yeah, he's complaining about you not being vulnerable because he doesn't have a way to manipulate you. He doesn't have a way to manipulate you. He doesn't have any vulnerability to go off of. Cuz men are good for that. Make up a fake vulnerability, make up a fake sob story, see how fast that man went through the same thing. See how fast that man tells you, "Oh my god, you that happened to you too? Oh my god, me too. Oh my god, we're soulmates." They use that to trauma bond with you. That's why you shouldn't tell them. That's why you shouldn't tell them anything or make something up. What do you think about dating divorced men? Um, it depends on how the divorce went. It does. It depends on how the divorce went. Um, Divorced men, they can come in so many types as long as they aren't bitter. Divorced men, if they had a really really good wife, this is gonna sound terrible, but if the divorced man had a really really good wife, um, you honestly can use that as leverage. You can use that as leverage. I feel like divorced men are only worth dealing with if they had a really, really good wife, in my opinion. If they had a fucked up divorce, if they had a fucked up marriage that they hated, which in my opinion is most of them, I really wouldn't deal with no divorced man. But usually, or not usually, but if the divorce was amicable, the divorce was clean, it was mutual, he talked very respectfully about like his wife and like they get along and things like that. I don't think it's terrible. I'm the opposite. I don't believe anything a man says. Women mean more to me. Exactly. I learned the hard way to not be nice to anyone or to everyone. Exactly. That was my question, and I hit a dead spot the moment you read it out. That's why I don't even want to get married. I'm working on finding an old dying man so I can retire. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So, okay, so how are you going to stop your niceness and stop being too nice and essentially become a mean girl, okay? And like I said before, mean mean is on a different level than what women think it is, okay? When a woman is being mean, men think you hate them, okay? But only boys think that, okay? When men are like, "Oh my god, you're so mean, you hate men, you're a misandrist." You're not. So the first thing is you have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries and mean it. Like like the moment that something makes you feel uncomfortable, the moment that you don't like something, you have to speak up. Okay? You have to say something or you have to give an action that shows the man that there is a consequence for what he's doing. Okay? Most men don't like consequences. This is the reason why men are like, I'm afraid to get married because what if she leaves? Because they understand that if a woman leaves, it's a consequence of their actions. So you have to remind them that there are consequences, there are boundaries. And if you don't abide by this boundary, there will be a consequence. The next thing is to stop over explaining. Women are always trying to over explain something, always over apologize, always trying to like stamp a band-aid on something. Quit over explaining. As soon as you start over explaining, a man already knows that you care way more. You care way more than he cares. Like when you know that a man is cheating and you just straight up show him the proof of cheating, a lot of men will be like, well, why are you going through my phone? Men, a lot of men aren't going to sit here, smart men, okay, if they really know how to just like be manipulative, they're not going to sit here and explain to you, well, I was doing this and I was doing that and I was doing that. No, because they already are lying. So if they start over explaining, that means that there's more shit that they have to tie together and keep together because they understand, oh shit, like I have to do all this stuff. I really care. I have to keep lying and lying and lying and cover up my lies. When you don't over explain, it shows that you don't care. You don't have enough of an emotional attachment to this man to give a fuck. Like, no, it is what it is. And I said what it is. And like, I'm not going to correct myself or change anything. Like, I meant what I said, point blank, period. If you don't like it, you just don't like it. Next is that you have to make men work for access. And a lot of this just happened. A lot of this just stems from you purging the pick me in you. Honestly, you have to have an exorcism of your pick me. You have to purge your inner pick me. Stop caring about being picked. Stop caring about being chosen. Stop caring about if a man, like, you have to literally live your life as if you're never going to be with a man. Honestly, you have to live your life and think, okay, what if I never get married? What if I never find the man of my dreams? What if I never find a man that makes me happy? How different will your life look? How many decisions will you make different if you just accepted that reality that you may not get married, you may not find your prince charming? Because the way that the pool is of these men, when you're a woman and you're well-rounded and you have your shit together, you probably you're gonna have to live like that anyway. Okay, like it's slim pickings out here, point blank, period. And as you become more and more beautiful, you become more educated, you become more well-rounded, you're increasing your chances of being single and not finding someone worthy. Like, it just is what it is. Like, that's just the harsh reality of it. Because there are so many women, like, imagine you living your whole life to find a man that like makes you happy and then you never find it. Like, imagine you not going on vacations because in your head you're like, no, you see the vision of vacation with you, with your bae, y'all running on the beach, y'all having all the fun. 25 years old, you ain't found him. 30, you ain't found him. 35, you ain't found him. And let's say at 40, you found him. You could have started going on vacations from ages 20 to 40. You could have had all these experiences for the past 20 years of you going on vacation, living your life, doing something that you want to do, but you're doing it now at 40 because you just so badly wanted to do it with a man. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And that's if you meet him at 40. You might as well just start living your life how you want to live your life now on your terms. This is the reason why men always want to go for women that are younger, because they don't want you to have experiences. They don't want you to know what it's like to travel, go out the country, go to nice restaurants, get the princess treatment, give the princess treatment to yourself. A lot of men think that they're competing with other men when in reality, they're competing with the life that women are giving themselves. Which is why you need to give yourself a good life and a great life where you're happy, where you're doing the things that you want to do. That way, Pookie and Ray Ray sending you a good morning text or sending you a text at 10 p.m. asking if you want to come hang out at his house while y'all are Netflix and chilling and he's smoking a J doesn't impress you. The next thing is you have to be comfortable with saying no. Okay. You don't have to be a bitch and be like, nah, nigga, nah, fuck you thought this was like, you don't have to do all that. Okay. You don't have to do all that. You just, no, thank you. I appreciate the offer, but no, thank you. Not tonight. But really, you're gonna leave me hanging. I'm sorry. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. I'll dream of you though. I'll go home and I have a dream of you though. You'll boost his little ego up real quick and then go on about your day. And then if you know you don't ever want to see him again, block him. Boom. Boom. You just got to be smooth. Point blank. You got to be smooth. The thing about it is that you cannot be, for most of these men, you cannot be rough when you're saying no, okay? Especially the times that we're in now. These men will get violent in a heartbeat, okay? You got to be smooth with the no's. You do. You got to be a master of letting them down easy because their egos are way too fragile. And I ain't never going to tell y'all, nah, nigga, like I'll never tell y'all to do that. I'm trying to keep y'all safe. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep y'all alive and safe. The next thing is to stop rewarding inconsistency. Okay. A lot of women want to contort to however men are moving. And so he may text you one day and then 5 days go by and he don't text you, but it's like, you've been texting me every day for like 3 weeks. And all of a sudden you go like a whole week without texting me. And then you text me as if we texted a couple hours ago. And you're over here, instead of you being like, I don't think I even want to return this energy because why? Nope, you're going to text him back. You're still going to hang out with him. You're going to forgive him. He's going to give you a lame excuse and you're not going to sit and think and be like, okay, does that really make sense? Does that really make sense? Because guess what? Is he ghosting his job for 5 days? Is he ghosting his job for 5 days and popping up at his job like, oh, hey, y'all, I'm here. I'm back. Did you guys miss me? Sorry. Hell no. He's not ghosting his job. He ain't ghosting his mama for 5 days. So, no. Don't be hanging out with some man and he's clearly shown that he's been inconsistent. His words, his actions are not matching. I'll take you on a vacation. I'll do this. I'll do that. You cannot be so easily impressed with words. I feel like that is like the root of issues with most women. Too impressed with words. This is how a lot of men get over on women because they're smooth. I worked in the strip club. I'm smooth as hell. I mean, y'all just witnessed it. I came up with that. I just came up with that random. You got to be smooth. That's what men have to do. Men understand how to be smooth. They know the exact right words to say. They know how to say it. If you learn how to be smooth, if you learn how to play the game, you'll know when someone is running game on you. You'll know when someone is being smooth to you. You got to learn how to be smooth. The Brooklyn in me wants to be like, listen, I lived in Brooklyn for a while. And let me tell you, them men will, I swear to God, some of them men, they really will make you want to buck up at them. They really will make you want to buck up at them. You got to be smooth and be slick. Be smooth and be slick. Fucking, yeah, like... be so slick and so smooth. It's like they done walked out the shower and you done put baby oil on the damn floor. That's how slick and smooth you want to be. What excuses can you use to leave the date early if they do not want to pay? So I've talked about this a couple times on the live stream. Well, first off, whenever you're going out on a date and it's the first date, someone always needs to know where you are. Okay, that's the first thing. So someone needs to know that you're going on a date and they need to know where you are and you need to be sharing your location with somebody. You need to let the person that you know that you're friends with or whoever, hey, I just want to stay prepared. So make sure that you have your phone on standby. because I may need you to like make a quote unquote emergency call for me. Okay. So another thing too, you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention to the guy's body language, and you gotta start. You gotta kind of frame questions and ask questions in a way to kind of get his mindset around money and his mindset around relationships. Like if he believes in 50-50, you got a good chance where he's probably going to expect you to pay for the date. Point blank, period. Because he looks at it like, I didn't like this date. I don't like this girl. I don't see no sense in paying. So I'm going to ask her to pay. Okay. So that's the first thing. You need to be paying attention during the date so you can stay one step ahead of this man. Okay. If you're picking up the energy that he is a 50-50 man, he's very stingy with his money, he doesn't see the value of a woman, he's probably going to make you pay. So when the food, when you could tell that your food is almost done, his food is almost done, and try to plan it before the waiter comes and be like, oh, like, are you guys done so I can bring the check? Before that moment, you need to go to the bathroom. You need to actually, you want to do it a little bit sooner in case your friend can't reach you back. But you want to hit your, go to the, I got to go to the bathroom. 1 second. Yes, this is stressful as hell. This is super stressful. I've never had someone ask me to pay on the date. Okay. You'll listen, ladies, you will never have to worry about this situation if you look expensive. If you look expensive and you set boundaries in the texting phase, in the dating phase, you'll never be in this predicament. You'll never have to even be asked to pay on a date. I've never in my life been asked to pay for a fucking date. Never. Never. And it's because I'm not nice. It's because I'm not nice. Men are only going to ask a woman to go half on the bill if they see her as being nice. If they cannot tell that you're rigid, if they cannot tell you are confident, if they cannot tell you have no boundaries, they're gonna ask you to pay. So you go to the bathroom, text your homegirl, and say, I need you to make an emergency call. Have your phone, have it on the highest ringer, have her call and make sure she's yelling, she's hysterical so he can see her. And as she's talking on the phone, what? Oh my God. Listen, while you're on the phone still, you grab your phone. I gotta go. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I gotta do. But wait. You out the door already. You out the door already. Blocked out of there. But you'll never have this situation if you're not a nice girl to begin with. If you have boundaries from the very beginning, he ain't ever gonna ask you. He ain't ever gonna ask you such a question. How do you detect if he's 50-50 mindset? Ask him what his upbringing was. Ask him what he saw his mother's relationship dynamics were. Ask him what his ideal relationship is. Ask him what roles does he see for a woman, or does he believe in gender roles? It's just going to be me and my cat. This sounds like madness, girl. I'm telling you. And like I said before, if you're not a nice girl to begin with, you'll never have to play these games. You'll never have to play these games when men know that you're not a nice girl, because guess what? Women who aren't nice repel dusties. When you are a mean girl, when you have boundaries, when you have standards, when you're confident, when you don't just deal with any old person just to deal with it, you repel the dusties. So when they can tell that you're not nice, they already know what you're coming with. They already know you're going to have an attitude. They already know you're going to have boundaries. No, I don't pay either, never did. But this whole guessing, I got to be sure enough of him to even sit with me to eat, at least comfortable enough to eat. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like this. You have to pay attention to your intuition. Okay, you have to pay attention to your intuition. You have to look at how he's texting you, things that you guys are talking about, and things like that. You'll know if he's that type of man or not. Okay, thank you for that advice. I'm cracking up. Yes, talk about the mindset more. I've grown in this area as well as my self confidence. So I have a spiritual channel too. I am going to be talking about like self mastery and things like that on my spiritual channel, and things like manifesting and law of attraction, and like things that you can do that will have you vibrate on a higher level where men can see this. Like, for instance, on the dating apps, men will straight out tell me, I can feel the confidence through your photos. Like, I could tell that you're very, very confident. And that's through a fucking photo. They don't say, you're so gorgeous, you're so beautiful. No, they usually don't say anything about my physical appearance. They always comment on my confidence through a fucking picture. That's how you know that energy in nonverbal things are very, very powerful. Some of them want to use you, some of them want to get used by you, some of them want to abuse you, some of them want to be abused. Pretty much. The world where men run things, sheesh. All right. So I told you guys, learn how to say no, stop rewarding inconsistency. And then the most important thing is to prioritize yourself first. You got to love yourself more than anybody else. Okay. You got to put your needs first before anybody else. You got to care about what you think about yourself, about your opinions, about your goals, about your thoughts. You got to care more about those than anyone else caring about them. When you prioritize yourself first, you will naturally make other people want to prioritize you. There's not a single person in my life who doesn't do anything for me. And it's because I do everything for me. Right? People, you gotta, in order to get help, you gotta help yourself, right? People naturally want to help people that help themselves first. People that prioritize them, people want to prioritize other people that prioritize themselves first. You can be kind, being kind and being nice are not the same thing. Okay. When you're a kind person, that's coming from a place of self worth, that's coming from a place of respect. When you're nice, niceness comes from a fear of rejection. You're doing something because you want him to look at you a certain way. You're doing something because you want to make him feel comfortable. You're doing things because you don't want him to reject you. You don't want him to fall out of love with you. You don't want him to stop paying attention to you. Please write this in a book, thinking of you in advance. Oh, thank you. Yep, everybody's looking for something. Yeah, for sure. I find that to be my biggest challenge, and to stop seeking external validation. Yeah, like it's hard work. And also, I keep forgetting I do have consultations, okay? So, essentially life coaching consultations, okay? So whatever sector in your life you need help with, whether it be a relationship, your self-esteem, your health, your fitness, your career, your business, your education, your self mastery, anything like that. I do one-on-one consultations. I'm currently offering them every single weekend. So I have slots booked between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So if you are interested in having more of a personalized interaction with me, I also have the link in the description for my one-on-one consultations. Okay. And then once I'm back in the Midwest on Friday, I'm gonna really hit the ground running with like doing more things, because on Patreon I do plan to have a book club. I also do plan to have a journaling club. So I'll be live on those so we can like interact with one another and like, have more of a bonding experience, but on an intimate level over on Patreon. They also test your boundaries by asking for pics. I had to ghost a mofo for that the other day. Yup. Like I said, men are always going to test you. They're always going to test you. Speak on it. Yeah, girl. Sweet dreams. Or when they ask for a pic saying it's for a contact pic. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. That is such weak game. Like that is such weak game. Like as soon as a dude is like, "Oh yeah, I need your picture for a contact pic," and especially if he has an iPhone, I'm like, "Bruh, I have my picture set under my Apple ID with my picture, so you don't need it for a contact because I already have it set where it's gonna fucking pop up. It's gonna pop up anyway." Like, no, you just want to feel special. And so you want someone to give you a picture, especially for you to validate you. Absolutely not. Disgusting. Gross. Hey. Like that's the worst game in the world. Like that's like low level. You're not even trying. You're not even trying to turn a woman on. You doing everything to turn a woman off. Can I get a pic? Can I get a picture for a contact info? No. With that weak game, you can't get nowhere near me. You got to come harder than that. You got to come harder than that. It's men out of retirement from the NBA that got more game than that. Okay. So, the next part. How to rewire your brain and start winning through you not being a nice girl anymore, okay? Step 1 is to stop seeking approval. Okay, you gotta understand that people's approval of you doesn't matter. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because people's opinions are very fleeting. And normally people's opinion that they have, or the opinion that you're wanting for them to frame of you, they're just projecting their desired sense of self onto you, essentially. Okay, it's just a projection. In people's opinions, in people's validation, it's very fleeting. So they could wake up one day and decide, you know what, I liked you like for the past like 10 years, but honestly, like I don't like you anymore. I'm not in love with you anymore. This is why male approval is worthless. And you also have to think of it like this: men will sleep with anything. Like as long as you give a man attention, and a man is just like, okay, like I'm finally getting some attention. They don't care who they're sleeping with. They don't care who they're giving their attention to. Like that should already let you know that attention and approval from men is worthless. Okay, like they're sleeping with corpses. They will sleep with robots. They'll sleep with turkeys. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want approval. I don't want approval from a species that will sleep with something that doesn't even need a pulse. Like, I'm sorry. I am sorry. The next is to start acting like your attention is expensive, okay? Because your attention is expensive. If your attention as a woman wasn't expensive, why will you open up your messages and it will be men DMing you, or men looking at you, or men trying to holler at you on the streets, men trying to make you laugh, smile? Like, men are constantly begging from men want attention from women constantly wanting attention from women, which means it's pretty goddamn sacred if that many people want it. It's of high value if that many people want it. So if that many people want it, that means that you should be making people earn it, right? You should be making people earn it. Does freaking Maserati, like, okay, Maserati, they don't, just not any person can have a Maserati. It's of high value. It's a vehicle that's of high value, right? If it's of high value, why would they ever price a Maserati at $20,000, right? Because then it's no longer a value. That means that anyone can have it. So when it comes to your attention, and I've been saying this lately, but if you're like still trying to date, the thing about it is that you have to do reverse psychology on yourself. So the way that men are able to get women hooked, so men are terrible people. Like, let's just call it what it is. Men commit most crimes. Most of jails are filled with men. Men are the ones doing, the school shootings, all those things. Men, most of them are horrible people, right? They are PDF files. They like children. They do very terrible things to people. And the thing about it is that the reason why men don't hold other men accountable for these horrible crimes is because it keeps the bar really low. This is the reason why when a man is just nice to you, you're like, oh my God, he's nice to me. Well, of course, a man, it doesn't take much to be a nice man because he hasn't taken your life. Like, imagine how low the bar is. Imagine the bar being that low. You're super, super happy that a man is just texting you consistently. And the reason why is because, well, at least he isn't bashing me upside the head. At least he hasn't R-worded me. Like, you have to think about it. Like that, men don't ever have to have that comparison with women. Never. Men don't ever have to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, like she's doing XYZ for me. Are you kidding me? Men will literally complain about, oh, well, she didn't cook for me. And it's like, okay, but like she's cleaned, like she's had your baby, she's bought you shit, she's usually nice to you. You're not having to compare women to just being horrible, cruel people in comparison to them being nice to you. So men use that as leverage. So that's the reason why men are never going to hold other men accountable, because the men doing really bad things is what makes the bare minimum look like gold to women. So you have to realize that. You have to understand that. And so you also have to understand that you really shouldn't be easily impressed by men. You shouldn't. You should not be easily impressed by them. Them opening up a door, them getting you roses on the first date, bare minimum. Bare freaking minimum. I was like serial dating at one point, and I had like 3 or 4 dates in a row. I got roses on the first date of every date, every single one for the first date. I literally was at my dad's house. And he was like, God damn, you got all of these roses. You end up getting all of these freaking roses. And I'm like, I know. They know that aura, baby. They know that they have to impress. They have to impress. Bare minimum. That's all bare minimum. You should never be getting happy and over the moon that a guy opened up the door, put your coat on, got you roses, got you flowers. That's standard. That's like when you have a car and that's the base level model. Standard edition. Those are all standard edition things. So once you start having your standards high like that, you're only going to let men that are able to really, really make you happy and do things for you be with you. So you'll be cool being single, away from all the dusties, as long as when you do have a man in your presence, he is doing all of these things like clockwork. Okay? Like being a good person, has his finances together, he's self-aware, he has a high self-esteem, he's confident in himself, he's driven, he's ambitious. He has to be the full total package, because you're the full total package. And so you should be at a point in life where it's like, no, I love myself, I'm the shit, I have everything going on for me, I love myself. Like I've cultivated a life for myself that I love, that I like, and I'm not going to deal with anyone that cannot give me a penny below that. Self-aware men sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds impossible because most men aren't self-aware. Most men aren't self-aware. And so this is also why women that have dealt with men that have been like abusive and been very horrible people to them, those, like, if you're that type, if you've had those situations happen to you regarding men, you need to be single the longest. Okay, you need to be working on yourself the longest, more than anybody, because technically you'll be putting yourself in a predicament where any little thing could impress you. And this is also the reason why men will want to be very invasive. And this is also the reason why men will want to ask you personal questions about your childhood, your upbringing, and things like that. Men are never asking you questions out of genuine interest. Always remember that. They're never asking you because they care. They're asking you to extract information from you to know how they have to move and what they can get from you. So when you're telling him that you were abused as a child, you had this happen, you had that happen, the first thing that he's telling himself is, all right, perfect. It's going to take next to nothing to impress her. All I have to do is just not put my hands on her. All I have to do is not put my hands on her. That's it. And she'll be happy. So this is why you pretty much have to set the precedence of telling men that you're spoiled. Spoiled, good upbringing, you've had no issues, everything is cool. You're the men in your life, the men in your family, they've been good to you, they're taking care of you, etc., etc. All of that. Because typically, hold on. Typically these men, they're only asking because they want to see how low the bar can go and how far they can get away with doing below bare minimum shit. All I have to do is send Grand Rising beautiful texts. I have grown men upset I lived in 3 countries before 18. Exactly. It's a threat. This is the reason why you have to cultivate a life for yourself as a woman where you've done things. Because the thing about it is that men don't live full lives. Men don't value luxury. Men don't care about doing anything that makes them happy because patriarchy tells them that their lives should be miserable. Their masculinity is dictated by how hard they can make their lives, by how miserable they can make their lives. As women, that's not how the feminine works. Feminine, we like freedom, we like luxury, we like the finer things in life, we like rewarding ourselves, we like community, we like vulnerability. This is why men would have an apartment. They have an apartment with a blow up mattress, TV on the floor, one knife, one fork, one spoon, one glass plate, and then a case of beer, some water bottles, some Gatorade, hungry man, TV dinners. They ain't got a passport, ain't left out the country. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the man that was mad that you lived in 3 countries, that's probably what his life is like. He got a blow up mattress with a TV on the floor, and he's like, "Oh shit, she won't be impressed. She's not going to be impressed by me because lived in 3 different countries before fucking 18." That's why they go for younger ones. A 16-year-old, she lives in a room in a house. She doesn't live in an apartment alone. She's not a homeowner. You know, if she's lucky, she's went to like Disney World and camping trips. And so Mr. Blow up mattress, rinky dink apartment, she'll go over and she'll be like, "Oh my God, he has his own place. How cool. How cool. Oh my God." And it's like, girl. So it's way easier for them to impress these younger women. Way easier. And the thing about it is that as a woman, your goal in life is to be hard to impress. That should be your goal in life. To do so much shit, to create such a full life, to make so much money, to look so beautiful, to be so educated that you are hard to impress. It will repel the dusties. Small town Georgia, they stalked me for being Hollywood. Book a plane, train, automobile. See, like, that's why I left my small town because they just, their mindset was way too small for me, and I was like, And even the universe didn't want me there. When I graduated from college with my first degree, I couldn't get no job. My first job was at the most prestigious hospital in Chicago. That was my first job out of college. Even the universe ain't want me there. The universe already knew what it was. Oh, my trip was good. I mean, it was real chill. I was just on standby for work. I just made a few quick bucks being on standby for the strike for UC, because they were striking at like Berkeley, Irvine, all the Orange County, all those. Once my ex-fiance found out I had 3 degrees, he would bring it up every month we were together, then say things like, I thought you were smart. Child, listen, when they're intimidated by your education, like, they only got to bring that shit up like 1 or 2 times, and I'm not talking to them. Nope, I'm not talking to them. That is true. A lot of guys are boring. They don't have really much going on. When I talk about my life, they always say, you're busy. Yes. The average man, I'm going to tell you the schedule of an average man. He probably wakes up right before it's time for him to fucking go to work. Okay. He might take a shower if he is lucky. Take a shower, go to work, finish work. He might go to the gym. If you're lucky, he might go to the gym after work, and then he's gonna come home. He's gonna play on the video gaming system. He's gonna use his bottle of Jergens next to his freaking bed, and then use his crusty dusty sock, his crusty little cum sock, and then go to sleep, and then do it all over again. Okay, that's like the schedule of most men daily. They don't talk to anyone. They don't hang out with anyone. They don't make plans with people. They don't check in with anyone. They don't have any plans to look forward to. Right, put a dent in the couch watching sports. Exactly. This one dude texted me happy Valentine's Day, but no flowers or gifts. He thought that would give him points. Nope, blocked. Exactly. Like, no. Like, gone are the days. I'm sorry, but like, gone are the days where women should be getting happy over a good morning text, grand rising, happy Valentine's Day, happy birthday. No. No, unless the happy Valentine's Day, happy birthday, grand rising, unless it's coming with an Apple Pay, a PayPal, a Cash App, a Venmo, unless it's coming with that, I don't give a damn. Okay. I don't give a damn about no grand rising, no happy birthday, no happy Valentine's Day. I don't care. Same, I'm from Arkansas. Ooh, child, Arkansas, Jesus. I left as soon as I could. All they do is eat and get pregnant. Child, listen, I swear, those small towns, all they do is breed and eat. I'm like, God damn. I said, I got bigger things to do. I'm out of here. I'm not, that's not the life for me. The minute women realize men will never think as you do as a woman, I promise you feel better when dealing with men. The prince and knight in shining man does not exist. Some are better than others, a few. Exactly. A lot of this comes from women. The reason why women are so nice is because, well, women will be nice, but the reason why women stick around too long with men is because women keep projecting their niceness onto men. So a lot of women will stick around because they have invested so much emotional attachment into a man. And what'll happen is they're hoping that it'll get reciprocated. And it's never going to get reciprocated. It's the sunk cost fallacy. You know, it's the women who have been with the man for 10 years. Y'all bought a house. You had the babies. No ring. and you feel like, well, fuck, I'm 10 years in, I live with him, I've built with him, I've built him up, I've had his children. I can't walk away from this now. And the reason why is because you're thinking, well, if it were me, I would have married me. I would have married me if I would have done this for me. But he's not you. He's not you. He's not a woman. He is a man, and most men are selfish, and men are always going to take what you give them. And even when you try to throw it back in their face and remind them, they're going to say, I didn't ask you to do that. You could have left at any point. I didn't force you to stay. And they would be absolutely right. They would 100% be correct in what they're saying. And the reason why is because women want men to be women so bad. They're never going to be like us. They're not like us. They're biologically different. They're conditioned by society, or society has conditioned them different. Our brains are not the same. Reproductive systems are not the same. There is nothing, we don't have really any similarities to men at all. And so this is the reason why I have this channel, to explain male nature to you all. So that way you can quit wrecking your brain constantly. Oh my God, why is dating so hard? Why is dating so hard? Why are all these men like that? Because that's just men. Because that's just men. You either gonna accept them and grow comfortable and accept how they are, or just be single, or go date a woman, or go get some cats. I don't know. You have a lot of options, but um yeah, they're never going to do the things that women do. They're never going to behave the way that we behave. It's a very, very few amount of men who do the inner work. They unpack their misogyny, they unpack their patriarchal conditioning, they unpack their childhood trauma. They actually learn how to like themselves. They learn how to not care about what other people are thinking. Very few men are going to do that. Like I said, the pickings are slim. We want men to be nice, but the truth is most men are not. That this is why the gentleman is praised. Yes, and the thing about it is that men have no reason to be nice. Like men don't want to be nice. Men don't want to be good people. If men wanted to be good people, they wouldn't be trying to force our hand at trying to go back to how being traditional was. The reason why men want to go back to traditional women is because men are such horrible people, and men know that they're horrible people, that men rather be needed than to be liked. I have a video about this. Why men rather be needed than liked. That's what it all comes down to. They want you to need them. This is why they don't want you to have an education. They don't want you to have any money. They don't want you to have any experiences. They don't want you to have lived any life, because they understand if she needs me, she won't leave. Men are extremely codependent, extremely codependent. They don't want you to like them because they know that they're not likable. They want you to look at them like oxygen. Oh my God, I need him. I need him. I can't live without him. As soon as women start saying that, I need him. I can't live without him, the man already knows, oh, perfect. I don't have to marry her. I don't have to be nice to her. She is so codependent. She can't go a day without me. Yes. As soon as y'all say stuff like that to men, they already know they got you. They already know that they got you. Yep, exactly. They want to go back to the old days because then whatever they do to women is justified. Exactly. If she needs me, if she is reliant on me, I can disrespect her. I can put my hands on her. I can R word her. I can disrespect her. I can cheat on her. And she'll never be able to leave because she doesn't have any money. She doesn't have any rights, doesn't have any freedom. Can you expand on a man who is clearly insecure but never shows emotions, never vulnerable and afraid of communication? Girl, you want me to explain about 85-90% of men. Most men are insecure. Most of them are insecure. The confidence, the bravado, the shit talking that you see regarding men, that is all a persona. None of that is real. All of that is manufactured. It's the armor that they wear, their armor of persona that they wear in order for them to not be vulnerable, in order for them to come off as Superman, in order for them to come off as masculine. And this all goes back to societal conditioning. Men are taught to repress their emotions. Girls, a lot of ladies, you have to realize men don't like women. And the reason why men don't like women is because men are not taught how to be men. They're just taught how to not be women. Crying is for girls, emotions is for girls. So they're already taught at a young age what makes you a man is not being vulnerable. It's not you crying. It's not you expressing your emotions. This is why men self delete way more often than women do. Because this is an example of patriarchy hurting men. This is an example of how it hurts men when they are taught at a very young age to not emotionally regulate and sit with their emotions. And so he's in the matrix. He let the societal conditioning get to him. And I would not deal with that type of man if I were you. I would not deal with that type of man if I were you. He will make your life horrible. He will ruin your life. Girl, they're all DL to me too. They're all DL to me too. Go watch the video that I made on men with narcissists. Go watch it to the very end, and you will see all those men are gay. The way they was talking, the way they was swinging their hips, chow, all DL. He did make my life horrible. Glad to be out. Yeah, girl, I'm glad you made it out. Men who are insecure, men who cannot be vulnerable are horrible people. They're horrible people, and that's most men. Yes, he was so quiet, but around men so happy. Yes. Most men are only attracted to women when it comes to the bedroom. Okay? They're only sexually attracted to women. Men are emotionally and mentally attracted to other men. That's the reason why they're DL. That's the reason why when a man says women need to shut up, I want a woman to shut up. Women talk too much. He likes men. He doesn't like women. Because any man that understands women know that women talk. Women use more words than men. Women communicate more often than men. So if you're expecting to be with a woman and for her to shut up, you want a man. When it comes to men saying that they want a woman to be submissive, you want a man. The reason why religion was created was because they had to artificially create a document to put women under submission because women weren't following any goddamn rules. Women weren't doing anything that men were telling them to do. There are no organizations of women where women listen to other women and they take orders from them. Only men have those organizations. The police force, firefighters, Army, Navy, Marines. Those are all organized establishments where men are submitting to other men. Women are not the submissive gender, men are. When men are going to church and reading the Bible, they're submitting to books written by another man. Yes. They'll only listen to another man. Men are 100% submissive. 100% submissive. Queen, you have sped up my healing process because damn, you are reading my life and past relationships. I'm telling you, girl, I know men inside and out. I know exactly how all this process goes. All the life experiences, I done been through them. I done been reincarnated 50 times in one life already. I wish I could live in a world without men. Me too. Honestly, me too. Women were autonomous. They did not like that. Exactly. Exactly. Men hate the fact that women just do whatever they want to do. They can't stand it. That's the reason why you need to be listening to us. If women were so naturally submissive, why do you have to beg for our submission? Why do you have to create artificial means to force us into submission? Because we're not naturally submissive. Like what? You want to be with a man if you are a man saying that women should be submissive. Point blank period. Go be with a man. I had many near deaths and all at the hands of boys, men. Well, first off, I'm sorry. That's horrible and honestly really scary. But that's another thing too. The closer in proximity that you are to a man, having a child with a man, marrying a man, cohabitating with a man, you risk your life more. You do, you risk your life more. However, a woman will submit to the right man for her. Yeah, and only in a sense of, I feel as though more so is that it's not even really submitting. It's more so of being abundant. Women aren't submissive, women are abundant. That's the reason why, like, men will give us sperm and we will create a whole baby. We make a house, we turn it to a home. You give us food, we'll make a meal. Women are naturally abundant. And so it's not so much as that women are submissive, it's that when you take care of a woman, she will take care of you beyond measure without question, because that's what the value of a woman lies in. The value of a woman lies in her being abundant, but the feminine must be honored. She must be worshiped. She must be valued in order for that to happen. Women don't do things just because they're being told to do them. Women do things because they want to do them. Whenever a man creates a space for a woman where she's valued, she's worshiped, he's made her life easier, naturally a woman will want to do things for you. And that's what men don't understand. Women do well when they have the most freedom, they have the most autonomy. When you're a good person, you don't got to force women into doing anything. And that's what men refuse to believe. That's what they refuse to accept, because they want to force everything. Men only live in the physical world. Men only live physically. And so men need proof of everything. This is why the justice system sucks. The justice system sucks because it was created by men, and men need physical proof of anything. You cannot go to a courtroom and do anything based off of your intuition, your feeling, a sense. That doesn't work in the justice system. And so what happens is that when it comes to men and them controlling, their thing is, okay, well, I have physical proof now. I have physical proof. If she has no money, if she has no freedom, if she has no rights, I will have physical proof that she will do anything it is that I say. Because men fear the unknown. Men always want to have physical proof. Men always want to have a return on their investment, because men don't trust the feminine. Men don't believe in what they cannot see. Men fear what it is that they cannot see. And so what men don't realize, that they're always blocking their blessings. They're always blocking their blessings, because if you would just understand the feminine and you just knew how the feminine worked, you would understand you wouldn't have to be doing all of this artificial things. All you have to do is have things go back to the natural order where women were autonomous, where women were the goddesses, where women were getting worshiped. Like literally back in Neolithic times, men literally used to fight other men to be able to procreate with the goddess. And men would want to do it so bad. And once he procreated with the goddess, he would sacrifice his life. He literally would be like a male bee. So once a male bee procreates, he dies. He dies after mating with the female bee. That's how it used to be in Neolithic times. The men, it would be such an honor to be able to procreate and have his gene move along. He wanted it so bad that he was okay with getting his life taken after he slept with the goddess. Like that is how powerful women were. I had a male friend mad at me because I was following his leadership because he knows subconsciously he's not meant to lead. Men are not meant to lead. And I wish women would stop buying into that. I wish women would stop buying into that. Men are not natural leaders. They're not. This is why men don't want to be providers. They don't want to be protectors because they know subconsciously that's not what they're supposed to be. And unfortunately, women have gotten conditioned now where women are afraid of their own power. Women are afraid of how powerful, how capable, how world changing they can be, where women want to give their power off to men. And men are like, I don't fucking want it. It's not for me to have. Men know this on a subconscious level. They will never admit it. They will never actually outright saying it. But this is the reason why the men are getting sassy. The men, this is just natural order taking place. You do realize that, right? This is natural order taking place. The men are becoming, look at the men from the 90s and then compare the men from the 90s to now. The men are getting way, way more unattractive. The men are getting way, way more feminine. That's happening on purpose. That's nature literally trying to tell women, stop liking these men. The men are even getting more violent. Since the pandemic, femicide, which is, crime and deletion of women, it has been on the rise since the pandemic. Nature is literally telling women, okay, we're going to make them more violent. We're going to make them uglier. We're going to make them more feminine so that you can quit being attracted to them. Nature does not want you to be attracted to men. Nature does not want you to give a fuck about men. Because if it did, the men wouldn't be acting this way. They wouldn't be acting this way. And you got women over here still trying to force themselves, still trying to convince themselves that Pookie and Ray Ray is a provider. That a guy with a profile pic with a fucking extendo clip is a great man, is a wonderful person. Like no, like you're literally just trying to force yourself based off of these like fake societal standards that have been fed to you through the patriarchy. Like when I saw Denisha Carter, I talked about this yesterday briefly, or not yesterday, the day before yesterday. Look at all those. Go watch my video about narcissists. Please watch my video about narcissists. Look at how all of those men looked. Look how all of those men look, and look at how sassy they were, how abusive they were, how evil they were, how mean they were, how lazy they were, how broke they were. Denisha Carter is getting exposed because she ended up sleeping with this guy and she was pretty much begging him to sleep with her. And then she was begging him for attention. And when he didn't give her attention, she pretty much said that she had a baby and she faked being pregnant. The man looked sassy as hell. Okay. The man was like a half degree away from, hey girl. And you slept with him and you're begging him to take you seriously by lying about being pregnant, and you cannot see that this man is over here looking super sassy. Like, how did your vagina even get wet for a man that looked like that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How did you even get turned on by a man that looked like that? Ain't no liquor in the world could make me ever want to be attracted to a man that looked like that. like, no. Mm-mm. Ain't no substance in the world that would ever make me look at a man that looked like that and be like, oh yeah, I want him. No. Mm-mm. Right. Stop it. Stop it, girl. Like the guy on when I did the narcissist video, and that guy was like, shut up, shut up. He kept saying it over and over. He sounded sassy. He said, shut up, shut up. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you sound more feminine than I do. You sound more feminine than I do. What is going on? What is happening? The roles were completely reversed. She was coercing him. I was sick. I'm telling you. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, you mean to tell me you have like a million fucking people on TikTok and you got to stoop down to this level? You got to stoop down to this level? But no shade. I mean, no shade. Like, no shade, but I mean, she did wear blue contacts. Sorry, I just had to say it. But the blue contacts, at first I was shocked, but I'm like, she does wear blue contacts, ice blue contacts. So I was like, eh. My dad still carries a pocket knife, and then he has a pew pew in the back. Right. The blue contact said everything we needed to know. Exactly. I'm like, child, it is 2025. Why are you wearing ice blue contacts? I'm sorry. Why are you wearing ice blue contacts, child? I was like, it makes sense. Y'all finding out most men are DL was mind blowing to me. It cleared up so many doubts I had. I'm telling you, once y'all start realizing that men really want men, once you really know male nature and how men really operate, it will make sense to you that the reason why, because my thing is this, you're not going to sit here and tell me that when it comes to the pool of good men versus good women, that it's the same. You're not going to tell me that the rarity of good men matches the rarity of good women. It's way more good women out here than it is men. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that these men are just having such a hard time finding a good woman. No, the fuck, you're not. It's plenty of good women out here. It's plenty of pygmishas out here. Y'all are not wifing pygmishas. Y'all are not doing anything necessary in order to get married because you don't like women. You want to be with a man. Point blank, period. They want to be with a man. I'm sorry, when a man is 35, especially 40 plus, he hasn't been married and he has no children and he has a desire of one or the other. You want to be with a man. I'm sorry. It's too many good women out here. Too many good women out here. Well, some men like the weave beards. Permanent wallet print with big stacks. Psych hacks should be watching this. I love psych hacks. Old school men had a permanent wallet print on all of their jeans. They sure did. I miss those days. I miss those days. Wallet would be thick as hell, and they just be sitting on their wallet, and then boom. Boom, money bags. Men want purses. It's crazy work, child. I'm telling you, these men so sassy. Listen, these men so sassy. They'll have a whole altercation. They gonna whip out their gun and throw it to you. Here, baby. There you go. Help me out. They're not even gonna do anything. They just gonna hand it to you so that way you could do everything. That way you could take them out. Oh yeah, please stay off the dating apps. I feel like at this point, The only people on the dating apps are pick Misha and predatory men. That's it. That is it. I still can't believe that there's people that are using the dating apps. The dating apps are highly predatory. They getting lace frontals too. Why do you think they're so critical over makeup? It's because they wish they could wear makeup. They wish they could wear makeup. Like I'm not wearing makeup I'm not wearing makeup today, and it's like, okay, yeah, like I have a couple hyperpigmentation marks. Men would die at the idea of being like, oh my god, I have a breakout and I don't have a beard. I want to cover this up today. Like men would love that. Men would love it if they were if they had the ability to just be able to cover up their blemishes, hide their flaws. Like, you mean to tell me that men have beards and their skin are crystal clear underneath? Hell no. They got beards and all they doing is hiding razor bumps. Talking about some, well, you're wearing makeup and you're falsifying. Okay, the hat on your head is hiding all the baldness, the lack of hair. So you're hiding that. The beard is hiding all the razor bumps and all of them. You got braille. I can read or I can feel braille. I can create a whole sentence on your goddamn jawline because you got all them goddamn razor bumps. I got on lesbian dating app and guess who had most profiles? Men and hetero couples. Of course. Of course. I'm not surprised. Thank you for explaining the difference between kind and nice. Yeah, you're welcome. You are very, very welcome. Because, yeah, that's important. That's very, very important. People that pride themselves on being nice, no. Mm-mm. Nice is just code for doormat. Nice is just transactional, you know? A kind person, you demand respect. What would you say about women who swear they're in a happy, stable, long-term relationship with unicorn men? I feel they're dishonest. 100% dishonest. They're lying to themselves, and so they have to lie to you too. They rather lie to themselves and say that they're getting all of their needs met in a long-term relationship, even though they know they're not, because that's better than the alternative, which is them being alone and not being with anybody. So that's the little lie that they're going to tell everybody so that way they can sleep at night. I'm sorry, but any woman, listen, there's really not been a single woman in my life that I know who, especially the women that are married, when they say, "Hey, I'm married," marriage is what it is. It's cool. And they always tell me I would never do it again though. I would never do it again though. And it's not because their marriages are horrible. It's really just that it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Um I would say that like for a majority of marriages, um, they're just kind of at a tolerable level of unhappiness. They've just kind of gotten used to it. They've gotten used to the person. They just live out the day to day. It's a routine at this point. They have a roommate and they're just kind of there, they're kind of just existing. I feel like that's how it is for most marriages. And I feel like for a lot of women, especially like on social media, like for instance, y'all, listen, I was on Threads and there was this video and it was a group of black men and one of them was recording and all of the black men got together and they started like waving up their wedding bands in the camera. They're like, yeah, like, we're married, we're faithful, y'all. It was so many women in the comments. Oh my god, that's the type of man I want. I want to be with a man like that. And it's just like, Y'all are too easily impressed. You mean all these men had to do was have on a wedding band, which you don't even know. They could have fucking went to a Walmart and got a wedding band for 30 goddamn dollars. They could have got a wedding band for 30 goddamn dollars. You mean to tell me all these men had to do was whip out a phone, all group around and show a wedding band and say, "Yeah, we're married. We married. We faithful." So a wedding ring is a chastity belt now. A wedding band is just the problem solver of all of your life's issues. Too easily impressed. And I commented it too. And I had like 30 people like that. I said, women are way too impressed. All it took was for a man to whip out his camera and record a group of men showing their wedding bands. And now y'all are saying that this is the type of man y'all want, as if a wedding band is a chastity belt. Low ass standards, because women have too much limerence. Women have too much limerence. Limerence is essentially, let me tell you the exact definition. Limerence is a state of deep infatuation or romantic desire for someone. As in, for example, Rudy's feelings for the pop star were limerence, not love, because he didn't even know the star. Someone who has experienced limerence is usually obsessive or intensely infatuated with someone else. And I feel like women have limerence over marriage. Although marriage isn't a person, a lot of women have limerence over marriage. They have an idea. They have an idea and an infatuation over being married, over being chosen, over dealing with men. And so something as small as men showing their wedding bands. Oh my God, oh my God. Child, come on. Do better. And the thing about it is that men read shit like that, and then men are like, that's all it takes? That's all it takes to impress you? They like to think that married is better than single. Exactly. And it's not. You got married people that are happy. You got married people that are unhappy. You got single people that are happy. You got single people that are unhappy. Yes, women are way too easily impressed and impressionable. They have this childish fairy tale idea of love and relationships. Exactly. It's like, go talk to real people, real honest people about their marriage and about what happened in it. Preferably a woman, and get real insight. You can't talk to no pick me married woman or a woman that her image is rooted in her marriage. All you're going to do is get lies. But a real person, a person that don't care about how you perceive them or your opinion, or care about how perfect their life looks under the guise of marriage, they gonna keep it real with you. They gonna tell you straight up. My own sister is married, and my sister didn't even want to get married, but my sister is married, and my sister tells me all the time, it's cool. You know what I mean? It's cool, because at the end of the day, my sister is married, and there are things that she wants to do and she cannot do them because she is married. Yeah, I was married for 11 years. Although it wasn't too bad, I will never do it again. Exactly. Exactly. It ain't like most women are in the pits of hell when it comes to marriage. It's not what it's all cracked up to be. And when you have your idea of marriage and the ceiling based off of how it was sold to us through love songs, through fairy tale movies and things like that, you got a long fall from reality. And then once you realize the reality and you just take it for what it is, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm in it now. I'll just do it until I can't do it anymore. And then boom, people end up getting divorced, and then women live out the second half of their life and they realize that being single is way more fun. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have time. And that was another thing too. even in my relationships, because a lot of men will be like, oh, I'm so sick of you women, you women want to be outside, you women are for the streets. Well, here's the thing, and then they'll try to claim that women want attention and women want validation. It's not that women want attention and validation, it's that as a woman, you want to be able like to go out like on a date with your significant other, and you want to be able to dress cute and feel your best. And if people look at you or if people give you attention, they just give you attention. Usually, when you're dealing with a man, at some point he's going to get insecure because all eyes are on you. You're dressed a certain way. He don't want you to dress that way anymore. He don't want you to talk to that person anymore. It's not that we don't, it's not that we want the attention. We don't want to be chained up because we're getting attention. That's the difference. We're not going out, oh, is someone going to look at me? I mean, the pygmishas are, but for the people that aren't pygmishas, ain't nobody going out wondering if someone's going to notice them or if someone's going to pay attention to them or not. And so it's just like, I don't want to be chained up like a prisoner to make you feel comfortable. And that's what men don't understand. I'd rather be single where I can just look cute, take myself out to dinner. And if people look, they look. If people talk to me, they talk to me. At least I ain't got to worry about going in the car on the way home with you, hearing about, I don't like how that guy looked at you. I don't like what you had on. Don't wear that dress again. You getting too much. It's too much. I don't have time for that shit. Nope. I'll be in the streets like a stray cat. I will be in the streets like a stray cat. Shit, even a domesticated cat has more freedom than most women in a relationship. It's cool. I'll be outside. Because it's freedom there. I'm not getting treated like a little fucking kid in the streets. I would be so turned off if a guy tried to control what I wore. Exactly. And like either like one of two things has happened. They try to control what I've worn, even though they met me half naked, okay? Especially during the summer. I'm not wearing clothes during the summer. I'm sorry. I don't like the heat. I don't like sweating. I don't like being hot. I'm not wearing a whole lot of clothes in the fucking summer because I want to be comfortable. I'm not covering up my body. And not to mention, I did bodybuilding. I work really hard for my body to look a certain way. I'm showing off my body. Okay. I don't go to the gym just to not wear the clothes I want to wear. Like, no, and I'm young. Like, one day I'm going to sag. One day gravity is going to defeat me. One day my clothes aren't going to look the same on me. I'm enjoying this body. Fuck what you talking about. So meet me half naked, and then all of a sudden, I don't like what you're wearing. You need to go back. You need to change. You need to go change. Or I will like know other people, and they'll be like, "Dad, you know him, and he hugged you." And I'm like, "Okay," and he hugged me. He didn't grab my ass. He didn't slap my ass. He didn't kiss me. He gave me a hug. Like, you're tripping over a goddamn hug? Like, come on. Like, stop it. Like, we live in America. Some like a hug, that is just a cultural formality. Like, that's just a formal way of a greeting is a hug. Like, come on. I felt that as soon as I get rid of my mom tummy, I'm showing my body off too, as you should, 100%. They love doing that to us. They get a baddie and then want to unbaddie her. Exactly. It's like, no, if you want a baddie for real, you got to be okay with competition from other men, point blank, period. And that's what men don't want to do. Men want to get a baddie and then eradicate competing with other men by reducing down a woman. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to fucking happen. Be a big boy and hold your own. Be secure. Be confident in yourself and be trustworthy of your woman. I don't want to be with no man who wants to unbaddie me and repackage me to make himself feel secure. Nope. No. Mm-mm. They want a woman to compete, though. Yes. And it's like, I'm not doing none of that shit. Good night. We'll catch the rest in the morning. Love from UK. Oh, she probably left already, but good night. They want a woman home stuck pregnant, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning while he out free. Exactly. I'm not doing none of that shit. Nope. Pygmisha will do it. Pygmisha will do it. And the irony of that is that they're never attracted to Pygmisha. That's the reason why Pygmisha is doing it in the first place. That's the reason why Pygmisha is doing it in the first place. Pygmisha already knows that she's not attractive. Pygmisha already knows that she's not a baddie. She's not a certified baddie. And so that's why Pygmisha has to do all of that shit. And then meanwhile, Pygmisha will be home doing all that stuff. And then he's cheating on Pygmisha with the baddie that he really wants. He's going 50-50 with Pygmisha. And then he's giving his 50 that he's saving from being with Pygmisha. He's giving that to the baddie. And he's lying too. He's lying to the baddie. Oh yeah, own my own business. He's using that money from Miss 50-50, Miss Pygmisha. Thank you, Lindsay, baby. Unrelated, but like I want to ask, how can you navigate and win at dating when you're known to have a promiscuous past? As someone that has a promiscuous past, I tell you this. I've never had a man. I've only had one man in my life ever care about that. I look at it like this. Men who are confident, men who know what they're doing in the bedroom, men who know that they can give you a good life, they're not going to care about you being promiscuous. If anything, real men are going to be happy that you have had a promiscuous past because they know that you're going to be great in bed. And that's like one of the number one things that men want. Men want a woman who is great in bed. And also, it's also nice knowing that they don't care because then you're guaranteed to know that you can use sex as leverage. When you're dealing with a guy when you're dealing with a guy who cares about your body count, you're dealing with a guy who wants you to be all pure, that means that you can't use sex as leverage. Whenever you're dealing with a man, you always want to be able to use sex as leverage. Always. He doesn't give you something that you want, withdraw sex. He does something wrong, withdraw sex. You want something, use a new trick in the bed. Throw on lingerie, put heels on, use toys, cut on a flick. Like I literally had a guy before tell me, he was like, I want a woman that has a higher body count. He's like, I want a woman who actually is experienced in the bedroom. He was like, I don't have time. He's like, I don't have time to be like having a girl that's shy, that's insecure in the bedroom, yada, yada, yada. I don't have time for that. I want to be 80 years old in the nursing home, looking back at my life in pictures and be like, damn, exactly. I don't want to look back at my life and be like, damn, what a sad, sorry life I had. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're liking the content. Thank you. Thank you. How do Muslim women do it in here? I don't know. I be wondering. They're probably used to it with how like hot it gets, but I would pass out. Chow, I would pass out. Oh, and especially if it was a place that was humid. I would need a life alert. I would have to have a life alert. I couldn't do it. They act like they don't like experienced women, but they do. Listen, any man who cares about your promiscuity, it means that his Johnson is small. Okay, he has a little pee-pee. Or he's just not good in bed. Or he's very stingy in bed. One of the three. He's a quick pumper, he's a shrimp, he's stingy in bed. No man would ever care about your promiscuous past unless it was one of those three things. I'm Muslim. I don't wear a burqa all the time, but if you wear it all the time, you get used to it. That's what I figured. I was like, I'm sure when you're wearing it, from like a young age, at some point you get used to it. Hey Coral. Okay, I'm so glad that you hopped in on here because now I can add you as a moderator. I literally was like hoping that you hopped in on here. Thank you. We got 177 people in here and we got 175 likes. So I think we are good. Yeah, sorry it took so long. I can't do it from StreamYard, but honestly, I'm going to start looking for another streaming service because I just want to see what other streaming services they are. I don't know, streaming services where I can like have more like customization. Like I want like cute banners around like my content and then like whatever content I might react to. Um yeah, and I'll have a new setup. I'll have a new setup like next week because I'll be in the Midwest. So I'll have to like figure that out how I'm going to have my setup be back home. But thank you for being patient because yeah, it would never let me add you as a moderator on StreamYard. And then when I tried it through YouTube, I don't freaking know. I'm like, okay, well, like I like subscribed, I typed you in and it still wouldn't pop up. So ciao, I don't know. But glad that I have added you. But if there's no more questions, any questions that you guys have, you can go on ahead and just like ask them. And then if not, I'll go on ahead and I will wrap this live stream up. I hope you all really, really enjoyed it. I really liked having this conversation. Please, if there are any topics that you want me to touch on specifically, or if there's any content that you want me to react to, feel free to send me an email. My email is queensovereignbeing@gmail.com. I also have the link to or not the link, but I do have my email in my description box. I'm pretty responsive via email. And so, yeah, if there's any specific topics that you guys want, yeah, go ahead and feel free to email me or drop it in the comments. Yeah, tonight was really fun. And my lovely sovereign sisters, I had such a good time with you all. Keep being consistent. I'm so happy your channel is growing. Consistency is key. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I try to live stream about 5 days a week. It's just last week I couldn't live stream at all because I was stuck in California with terrible Wi-Fi. It wouldn't even let me upload like a 20-minute like upload only video. So do you have a live stream schedule? I love the lives. I usually live stream Monday to Friday. So literally every day, Monday to Friday. And I usually will start live streaming at 6:30. The name of my spiritual channel is The Mystic Sovereign. Hold on. I'll link it. Give me a second. I'll put it in the chat. I'm probably also gonna I'll most likely post on the spiritual channel tomorrow because I literally just started this channel the week before last. So that channel is very, very new. And then I'm going to do a third channel. I'm going to do a third channel. I'm so crazy. The third channel will be nice. The third channel will be nice. You young women think older men are better. No, they are the same. Yeah, they really are. Where can we send you content to possibly react to and get your opinion? My email is queensovereignbeing@gmail.com. Let me make sure I typed it right. Yep, Queens. Yeah. So there you go. I just put it in the chat. But it's also in my description box. And then also, if anyone wants personalized coaching with me, consultation with me, that is the link to that is also in the description box. So I have it open for every weekend. So if you would like for us to talk on a personal level and for us to really sit down and give you a game plan on any issue that you're having in your life, or for you to get guidance on to navigate any part of your life, whether it be your love life, your finances, you're trying to change your career, your eating, I did bodybuilding, okay, so I know how to get your body right too. Your self-esteem, anything like that, please feel free to book a consultation with me. That way, I can use my wisdom, my life experience, my expertise to get you into the right area. Oh, I put the second channel in the chat. It's the Mystic Sovereign. It's in the chat. Just click it. That's all. It'll take you directly to the link. Well, to help with ED, I definitely will touch on that and talk about that. I will. They don't want anyone looking at you, but when a woman comes dressed down like a Muslim, that's a problem too. Exactly. You can never make them happy. You can never make them happy. So it's like, what's the point? It's always, oh, you should have wore that. Listen, they're doing things to women that are completely covered from head to toe. This is why I'm always going to wear what I want. I'm always going to wear what I want because if doesn't matter if a man wants to do something, he's going to do it. Point blank. Period. All right, y'all. I will see you all tomorrow. Okay. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Bye.